Hey, Leo,
Hello, Steven.
I've learned from the mistakes of the last time we tried to take over Give Me Back My Action movies.
That we are basically incompetent, or
Well, we've hacked onto their show twice now,
we did
both
that.
for
I was
hackers.
Yeah.
Yes, and also when we sent them some kind words and they wouldn't let us in, so we had to hack our way in.
I mean, how rude, though, right?
Right. Sometimes you
all.
have to kick down somebody's door in order to deliver them a nice message.
I was going to compare it to the Three Pigs, but I get enough of that in my daily life, so.
Fair. Yeah, Leo doesn't need 3 more fat jokes. I have realized now, because they're onto us, their security systems are on high.
Oh, well, don't I know it?
The real way to get on the show is to do a totally different way, to pick a totally different way of getting in.
Okay.
Magic.
Oh, all right. That's a nice angle. We used up all the genie wishes. We don't have that anymore.
We don't have the genie wishes, but I have been collecting a random assortment of various magical items that should be able to cast us the correct spell. I've got a glaive that we're not going to use until the 3rd act of the movie. I've got a random hourglass with red sand that only works once.
Okay, good.
I've got a magical brooch. I've got a necklace. I've got all sorts of different things. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use all these magical items to cast a spell and actually shapeshift into one of the hosts of Give Me Back My Action movies.
Okay, wait. Now, you're going to sit here and be one of them right here in front of me, or is it going to be like you're transferring into one of them? How does this work?
I think the rules here are vague. I think that it's like a wishing crystal and things like that. Like,
it sounds a lot like we're making shit up as we go, which is on par for us. So, yeah.
Leo, I don't want to be inside of Nate. I get enough bisexual jokes as it is.
Are you sure?
Okay, that's not what this is about. Nate is not on the show right now, so it's perfect. That's who
fair.
I'll go in there and I'll shapeshift as.
All right, that's fair. You do that. I'll manage. I don't know. I'll sit here.
And then what I'll do is I'll go through their emails or their files, which I'm sure are very clean and very well kept, knowing Charlie. And then what I'll do is I will give you the password and we can hack our way back in.
Good plan. Let's do this. Yeah.
All right. And here we go. Amityville Horror, the original, is the best movie ever.
So, you plan on coming back? What's going on, man?
I plan on coming back. It's been busy. You know this.
I know it's been busy, but you weren't even here for all of Action Month. You know how
I
important
know.
that month is to me.
Didn't even talk about Rambo 2. You talked about Rambo 3 more.
Well, I should have picked Rambo 3, but I was thinking about you because I figured you'd want to be here for that.
I'm glad you thought about me, especially if it was just Rambo.
Yeah, okay. Look, when you finally get settled in, and we'll get back on Rambo 3 on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yep. Rambo 3. And, I mean, other movies that I want to cover, too. I know that felt a little weird to say, but yes.
Well, it is you, so I guess this should be par for the course. You okay?
Yes.
Like you're spacing out.
Well, no, you ever, look at my room and just, see things? And you're like, those are cool.
It's your room. You should know what your room looks like.
Yeah, I know. And I do.
Okay.
For sure.
You're acting more weird than normal.
What is no.
All right. Well, look, give me a minute. I got to go take care of some stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll finish going over the schedule. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
All right. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. So Charlie's not around. All right. Those bastards have got to have a password laying somewhere around in this office. But before I do that, I do want to kind of take a look. I'm just going to unzip the pant. So that's what it's like to have a fat hog. That's pretty cool. All right. But now gotta focus. Now on Nate's fat hog. I gotta focus on where he keeps the password to get access to the podcast. I played it cool. Charlie doesn't suspect a thing. He doesn't know that I am Steven. He knows that I am Nate. And that makes total sense right now. All I got to do is figure out where the password is. But I'm going to be honest with you, with myself, I guess. There's just a lot of shit all over the place. I mean, guy's got bookshelves and the books are on the ground. That doesn't even make any sense. And then he's got DVDs in 2 different areas and other DVDs, they're on the ground. And he's got another All right. Clearly, Nate is not the organized one of the podcast. This was a bad idea. So what I'll do is I'll wait for Charlie to come back. And when he does, I'll then act like I got logged out of the email again. And that will work. Well, all right. Let me at least check the drawers real quick. What's that? You know what? I'm glad I probably shouldn't have looked in that drawer. It was a little sticky. You know what? That's his drawer. I'll let Nate's drawer just be. I clearly understand why those stickers say what they say on it now.
All right. Hey, all right. I'm back.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
That took a little bit, wife, kids, family, all that stuff.
Yep,
going on.
yes. You have in the mountains of Virginia
Yeah.
children.
I don't know why you keep saying it like that.
There is nothing out of the ordinary going on over on this side right now.
All right, you're weirder than normal right now, but can we get back to what we're talking about? Let's get the schedule figured out.
Oh yeah,
for your
schedule.
return. Yeah.
The happening.
Did you get the email?
The happening.
No, we're not. I told you. Would you stop pushing that?
Well, we
okay?
really got to do Cube 2.
No.
Cube 2. Only
Pete will quit the show if we do Cube 2. Okay? Look,
I
did you
mean,
get
then
the
that
email
makes
I
our
sent
podcast be
you?
brought down a peg.
This is just like we're trying to record with you. Did you get the email I sent you?
No, because
no?
the email doesn't work on my phone.
Again? Like, how many times does this happen? Like, dude.
Well, I switched phones.
Would you stop eating while you're on your phone?
Well-
Okay? This is like the 5th time you've done this
But
year.
To be fair, the barbecue sauce.
All right, fine. All right. Do you have the login wrote down? I sent it to you last time.
I do not, because I put it in one of these drawers and they're sticky.
Somehow that's not the strange thing you said tonight. All right, look, the login, write it down.
Yes, please.
Get a piece of
Let's just
paper.
log in. I'm going to really, all right, I'm really focused in right now on the login, on how I can get access to Give Me Back My Action and Horror Movies, the podcast.
You're acting weird again. All right, look, the login is...
Yes, login.
Charlie actually enjoys February.
Okay.
I don't know how you
Charlie
forget
actually enjoys February.
that. Right.
6-9, is there anything after that?
It's the upside down exclamation point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The upside down explanation point. That's an I, right?
Well, I think you hold, like, don't you have alt keys that pop up?
Yeah, but I mean, like an I looks like an exclamation point, but upside down.
It does, but then it's too easy to get.
I got you. That makes sense too, and it'd look weird.
Okay. All right. Look,
All right.
read the email.
Yep.
Call me back later. We'll go over the schedule because I don't want to sit here while
Got
you
you.
try to open
There's
the email.
no way in hell that I don't have you at this point.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
I'll talk to you later.
Gonna get access to your back door.
Why do you say shit so weird? All right. I'm out.
I am as well.
Read the email.
I'm gonna.
Oh, thank God I got rid of that annoying voice.
You didn't look like yourself either. I don't approve that. You don't look like yourself. Like,
Now
seriously.
I'm back to my handsome self.
I wouldn't go that far, but you're at least what I'm familiar with, and that settles my OCD nicely. So,
All right, everybody, welcome all of you to Give Me Back My B-rated fantasy films. My name is Steven.
I remain Leo.
And maybe Pete and Charlie will show up. Who knows?
cares?
And we're covering the movie Krull.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last? I lied. Get off my plane.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
John, I'm not gonna shoot you between the eyes. Shoot you between the balls. Your disease, and I'm the cure. I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent.
There can be only one.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Yippee-ki-yay. I'm going to kill them all, sir.
Damn it, Pete.
What?
How are we
No,
supposed
that
to
was-
fix this shit?
I don't know. We're in a bit of trouble here.
It was
And
right
again.
in front of me.
And again.
Uh,
And again.
just
You guys.
weasel their way in again. It's that van out the front, right? With the wizard on the side, the blue van. He's zapping something like a dragon or something.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't
we
paying
should
attention.
Maybe.
have known all along that that's what was going on. And you and your disturbing love of old vans, you were just blinded. You're like, oh
I
my
was.
god, that is so nice
I took
looking.
a selfie with it. It was amazing.
I know you did, and you still let them in.
Look, we cannot reveal the ways that we are able to hack into this show. Like, we have to keep some secrets, but here we are.
We're gonna have to get like is there anti-magic, or is there like,
I don't know.
can we get a necromancer? No, that's a bad
Somehow
idea.
I think
Um,
That's a bad idea. That's going the opposite way we need to go.
Yeah, I think
one of
I
us
think
has
one of
to
those movies I
die.
bring to the table would be
Costly. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Just like last time, I will relent. And welcome to Give Me Back My Action Movies Spoils of Horror Edition. I am your host, Charlie. With me, as always, is Pete, who was invited. Say hello, Pete.
Can't believe
Also-
we got hacked again.
Also, who was invited is our fill-in host, Anna. She is
Hey.
here tonight.
Hello. Very excited to pod with Spoils of Horror finally.
Right.
You say that now.
Exactly. Yeah, we have yet begun to pod here.
We thought we were having a guest. We did have a guest. We brought Hannah back on for this show tonight. Say hello, Hannah.
Yay! Hey guys, I'm excited to pod with Spoils of Horror also. So
You
super.
see that now.
Pete and I will just see our way out.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
I'm just peace out.
What a dream. What a dream.
Oh,
Four of us
oh.
can just podcast together and it'll be great.
yep.
They're like, this was the plan from the beginning. This is what we wanted to do.
Take Leo with you.
They wanted to get it, yeah.
Aw, I like Leo.
I hired a necromancer last week, and it cost me an arm and a leg.
Oh my
Shut
god.
up.
Of course.
Damn,
As-
I need that drop up
That's
here.
a
I didn't know
soft-
it was gonna
As
be
man,
that.
as we say on our show, rim shot here.
Exactly. Well, as you can tell, it is going to be a full house tonight. I did have a movie picked out. I tried to say it in the last episode. Surprisingly enough, I was going to pick Krull the Conqueror. Somehow, though, we have to cover Krull from
Because it's the
80s.
superior choice.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. We'll go with
I know.
that.
I'm on board with that. That's clearly the superior choice.
Not enough heavy metal and axes in this one for me.
There are tons of axes in this movie.
They're the baby axes. They're not barbarian axes. So yes, we have Spoils of Horror on here. Gentlemen, welcome. As you know, I'm relented to say.
Mhm.
We are happy to storm the castle again and force our presence in here, but we are happy to be back and hanging out with you guys. And we are very excited to cover a movie that is, I think, pretty near and dear to both of our hearts.
Love this movie.
That's good. All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get everybody in the mood. I'm a little salty, Hannah. I'm sorry. They hack into my show
I
all the
know.
time.
It's okay,
And-
Charlie. It's
At
okay.
least at least once a year.
We
So
just have to be kind. We have
we
to be
will.
kind, though.
Kind of what?
Really?
If you're nice to them, they'll go away.
Yes,
Fool me
yes.
once,
Everybody.
Well, apparently that's
shame on me. Fool me
bullshit because I'm
twice.
always nice to them.
Fool me 3 times. I'm gonna
Early
punch you in
calls
the face.
bullshit.
Right. Damn it! I knew we should have brought Bleat out. Oh, all right.
I'm working on it.
Working on it right now. Good job, Pete. Let's go ahead and hit this trailer. I got us a little short one of the nice little TV. I think it's the TV one. I don't know. It was fairly short, but
This
I
isn't
like.
the Big Hog trailer. This is,
Uh,
this is the Steven trailer.
It's not a
Right?
big fat hog.
On a distant planet, a great kingdom was ravaged by beings who came from the future to conquer the universe. Now, the only survivors follow a doubtful seer and a throneless king.
They will hold her in the Black Fortress. You must have help.
Thieves, bandits, fighters, and brawlers. Desperate men. Those are the kind of men I need. Well, you heard him. We are now an army.
At the end of an impossible journey, they must fight an invincible enemy.
Here's the knowledge you seek.
I shall be your king.
In the fortress, you will face more than the slayers.
What is about to happen to them could never have happened on Earth. Columbia Pictures presents a world apart from anything you have seen before. Krull.
I would like to say that trailer was really short, but it got the job done.
It did.
Why?
Yeah.
Why did the music sound like a Western? What the fuck?
Because it's kind of a Western. I mean, if you look at it, it's Seven Samurai. It's the good, the bad, not the good, the bad. The Magnificent Seven.
Mhm.
It feels like you're collecting these heroes, bringing them together to defeat an evil. So
You know what's
that's-
interesting about this movie, though, is that its placement in history, where just after Star Wars and the sci-fi craze,
Mhm.
but just before all of the fantasy hits like Willow and Neverending Story and shit like that, this
Conan,
movie is sort
yeah.
of a transition film between those two genres that became big in this time era.
Quite literally, I'm pretty sure a ship dropped out of Star Wars and came into this movie.
that opening crawl was straight out of Star Wars. Don't
Oh, for
get-
sure.
don't-
I
Yeah.
thought that too. I was like, this looks familiar.
Love this movie as much as you want. That was a direct ripoff of Star
Oh, yeah.
Wars.
This kind of reminded me too
And I'm okay
of
with
Clash
it.
of the Titans,
Absolutely.
which was a big
Yeah.
movie
Okay.
that I watched when I was young. My Nana loved it, and we would go camping, and that would be like one of the movies we would watch in the camper. Was Clash of the Titans, and I
Aw,
remember
How
loving
sweet.
that movie, and like the stop motion in it was so cool, and all the creatures,
Harryhausen.
and but yeah, I definitely got like those kind of vibes from Krull. So
Oh, absolutely. This was on constant syndication when I was growing up. Which, speaking of which, let's just get into a little bit of our histories with
Mhm.
this. So, Hannah, we'll start with you. Had you ever seen this movie before?
nope, this was the first time watch for me.
Oh,
I had never
wow.
seen it.
okay.
I liked it. it was okay. It
Save that
wasn't-
for later.
yeah, we'll save that for later. But
That's-
yeah, so I do have a funny story about this. So when I worked at GameStop, there was this dude there,
Oh, Lord,
and
here we
he
go.
was like, he had these kids, and he would bring his kids in and almost like want me to be like a mom to these kids when he would. It was so weird. Like he was so weird. And I love Star Wars, and I was very open about my love for Star Wars when I always wore Star Wars shirts, and I have a Baby Yoda tattoo. I mean, so like, and so everybody would talk to me about Star Wars and stuff. And so he brought me a freaking downloaded copy of Krull on a DVD and said, "You need to watch this. Like, you would love this. If you love Star Wars, you will love this." And I never watched it. Like, I tried to find it to see if I still had it because I thought I did, but we ended up just watching it on Prime. But yeah, I it's so funny because when Anna was like, "You want to watch Krull?" I'm like, I have the weirdest story about that movie. But yeah,
awesome.
so he was a weirdo, so I was kind of like, I don't think
You don't know what's on that DVD.
Exactly. She didn't know what she was getting into.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was okay.
She could have got vampires with a Y instead of Krull.
That's right. You should watch that one. There's a lot of blood in that one.
No, you shouldn't. Anna, what about you? Is this the first time watch for you?
It was indeed. Yeah, I'd never even heard of it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
wasn't on my radar at all.
Really?
And it wasn't on.
Okay.
It was on Tubi, and then I guess it went away at the 1st of August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's what happened.
Welcome to the curse of
We're-
podcasting.
I know, dude.
We're pretty famous for, hey, it's on Tubi. Shit, it's not on Tubi.
It's happened to us a few times too, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn it, it was just on here."
Or
Yeah.
we'll catch it and tell people you should watch it. It's not on Tubi anymore, but you should find it somewhere.
Son of a.
Pete, what about you, Bubba?
So, maybe as the elder statesman of the group, I was a young lad. I did not see it in the theater, but I do remember visiting my grandma Schrader, and we went to, and VHS rentals were kind of new at the time. She had a VCR, and the pharmacy uptown Lipsick, Ohio had a couple of, they had maybe like 20 selections, and one of them happened to be Krull. Grandma Schrader didn't know nothing about nothing. I wanted to go see this movie, and she's like, whatevs. They'll shut him up for a couple hours. And yeah, I remember fondly that she rented that for me because I was like, that looks cool and gross. And I only remember the process of, that's the one I want to watch. I don't remember watching it. But years later, I revisited it, and it was a very silly movie that I have a lot of time for. And then watching it again brought back some nice memories. So thanks, Stephen and Leo, for making me watch this again.
Well, awesome. Well,
Good job, Pete. You're being kind.
It is a goofy 80s sword and sandal space movie. It's that
it
shit
is.
crazy.
It is.
All right, cut him off before he starts getting mean.
Exactly. Well, since Stephen and Leo brought this, I'll go ahead of them a little bit with mine. I have a little bit of a history with this. I have seen this movie multiple times, but I remember the first time I tried to watch Krull. It was summer vacation, and we used to get, the newspaper, and it had the times for what's coming up on cable. And I had seen it was I don't even remember what exact day, but it was a weekday. And I saw it like 12 or 1 o'clock. Krull. And it just give that little blurb at the bottom, about, Cohen and the glaive and all this stuff. And I went, this sounds amazing. I want to watch it. And I told Mom about it. And I was like, Mom, at 2 o'clock, because me and my sister had to take turns watching television, or if we wanted to watch a movie, I was like, I want that to be my turn. So however that works. She goes, that's totally fine. Totally fine. 30 minutes before it was supposed to start on television, the power went out.
No.
Oh my gosh.
And
kids, ask your folks about
well,
about the trials and tribulation of network television.
As a parent
Yeah.
that gets like, damn it, kid, why can't you just shut up about something? I remember going, well, why can't I watch Krull? Power's out. Well, I wish I could be watching Krull right now. It would literally, till the end time of Krull went away, I was going, well, I guess I won't get watch Krull now, and was just moping around
Like
the
Marley,
house.
dude. Marley does that shit. I'm like, yeah, I know. I get it.
And the power came back on later, and the next showing was like at like way late night was the next showing of it, and I was so pissed. I was so pissed that I have
Poor Charlie.
remembered this particular movie forever because the power went out and I wasn't
Broke
able to
your
watch
heart.
Krull.
Poor young Charlie.
I know.
That's tough. That's tough.
Broke my heart. Broke my heart. But yes, I have fond memories of this movie. So, Leo, let's start with you, Bubba. What's your history with Krull?
I don't know when would be the first time I ever saw it. I just know that it was always part of my life. I grew up watching this, and there is nothing greater for a 10-year-old kid than this fucking movie. And that glaive was the coolest weapon on earth. And the fucking monsters and everything else. I've never forgotten the spider scene. It was so fantastic. And I have these fuzzy, lovely memories of this movie throughout my life. Then I watch it for this episode of what we're doing here. And I realized watching this as an adult is an entirely different experience. Because when you're a kid, it's all about the monsters and the weapons and the cool fire horses and all this shit. And now I'm like, oh, look, a boom mic. And what was that dialogue? And I know. And it was worth it. It was still worth it. But I have much more interesting and new memories for it now than I did as a kid, because I haven't watched this in years, but I've always lived with it in my brain. It's always been on my top 10 for this type of movie. So I will never stop recommending this as a great time for whoever you are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Steven, you made a comment not long ago that if we ever did Krull, you wanted to come on the show, and I didn't put it on the schedule, so you forced it onto the show.
Was not invited. Not invited.
Not invited.
Clearly.
We had to make it happen.
Sometimes you got to kick down a door to give somebody a gift.
That's it.
So
we are the gift.
That's what my mother used to say.
I'm hoping you have some good memories with this movie. So
I do. I have a lot of love for Krull, and in fact, Leo and I have both talked about outside of here our love for this movie. So for me, I also don't remember the first time that I saw it, because it was just one of those movies that was always on syndication. I don't think as a child I ever saw it from the beginning to the end in one sitting. I think I saw it the last 30 minutes and the first 30 minutes and then the middle 30 minutes. I'd seen the whole movie many times, but I don't think I ever saw it all in one sitting. And also, like, my family would have a lot of movies that they just had sort of stuffed below the shelves that were just for the kids to watch so they would go away. You know what I mean? Like,
that's how keep them busy.
That's how I've seen Karate Kid 2 about 3 billion times.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. And so Krull was one of those movies, but 100% everything that Leo said rings true for me as well. It was a movie of heroes and villains, and it was this really cool glaive, and everything was really exciting. All the characters were fun. And before I was a big horror movie guy, I was a big heroes and villains guy. Fantasy movies and comic book movies.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, this is both a very nostalgic movie from a time where I would just stare, with like water in my eyes, wanting to be the hero of the film that I was watching. But also, there's a lot of nostalgia from this movie. And there's also a lot of just strong feelings about these are the kinds of movies that, even though we do horror on our show, when we originally talked about the show and we talked about a different version of it, these were the kind of movies we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
And so it's really fun for us to be able to come over here and talk about something like Krull.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you guys talking about this, I think the only reason maybe Krull wasn't as prominent in my watching as a kid, because what you guys described was me watching Beastmaster growing up.
Beastmaster, I would always pair these two together, Beastmaster and Krull.
That's a hell of a double feature.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be a perfect double feature. But, it's like, I don't know if I ever actually sat down and watched the movie from beginning to end. And then, but I've seen the entire movie multiple times. And, for a while, that's how Krull was. I'd catch like the end going, oh, this is kind of cool. All right. Yeah. And then, but you don't remember names like, Colwyn and, stuff like, but
I didn't remember any of their names.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to say, Lissa, I do remember her name. You want to know why? Because she looks like Chapel Roan. I was like, she is hot.
There you go.
Can I interject though? I thought it was hilarious as the new approach to this film and realizing plot and story that I never realized as a kid. And the narrator is talking about a woman with a powerful name, and it's basically Lisa. And I'm like, how is that a powerful fucking
Right. Or Lissa, is that short for something? Like, is the full power Alyssa? Like, what is
Could be that.
Yeah, right.
Never
That's what I
heard
was
that
thinking
before.
Yeah, and so we can start talking about a little bit about the movie. That's our nostalgia with it, and especially for a movie from 1983, there's bound to be some ties, for us when we were kids, and thankfully we're reintroducing it to two new viewers, Hannah and Anna. While they're not going to have the same, across the nostalgia bone that we usually get, like hitting our funny bone. You're like, oh God, yes, I love this movie. they get more
with that.
They get more of so that's what these idiots love watching whenever we're not around.
Yeah.
What bone was that you were hitting?
Yeah.
I messaged Hannah. I was like 20 minutes into it, and I messaged Hannah. I was like, Hunter would love this. Right up his alley.
Because it's also reminds us of Conan.
Yeah, Conan. Like he picked that, not too long ago.
Early 80s Sword and Sandal was. There are so many early 80s Sword and Sandal movies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hawk the Slayer, I highly recommend, by the way.
That's great. It was a whole genre back
Oh,
then.
no, it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, but it's awesome.
But it's a whole lot of fun.
No, we had covered this over on my buddy's YouTube channel, J-Man. We did like this bracket, like picking our favorite ones, and Krull was in the run for a long time. I don't remember who won it, but we were putting it up against like, Ator and Hawk the Slayer and Barbarians. It's real bad.
Is delightful.
Yeah, but I mean, you pick which one's your favorite, and I had some when I'm comparing it to other movies, I do have a few issues with this one because it's basically D&D on film. This is a live action, Dungeons and Dragons movie.
But it's not even a college. It's not a college level D&D. This is like high school, junior high D&D folks throwing shit at the wall.
Leo, a little bit of trivia on this though is that this actually was intended to be a Dungeons and Dragons movie. They had the rights to that for a little while, but then I forget the details. Something happened. They lost the rights to call it that, so they had to change it.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And now Gygax acts like he's never heard anything about it. Like, no one ever told me they were going to.
Yeah,
Gary
like,
Gygax is a. Anyway, let's move on.
It's a whole
fella.
different. Whole different.
He's a
era
fella.
with that.
He's a fella, all right.
And then that's what we all kind of came with this idea. It is a journey. It's a hero's journey who's gathering up his, compadres as it goes, and it just kind of happens. Like Pete said, it just kind of works the same as, what was it? The
Magnificent
West,
Seven,
Magnificent
Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
If you're into the OG, yeah.
I also got Mario vibes, like Bowser taking Peach and them trying to save the princess.
Oh sure. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's
great.
That's a definite like a trope that they would have taken from movies and stories of this type.
Save the
hero to
princess.
save the damsel.
That's this movie.
Damsel in
Exactly.
distress.
King's Quest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. And I know they were, Stephen
I
and
show
Leo
my
were,
age, Stephen.
where Stephen and Leo were talking about, you have to mention Star Wars when we're talking about Krull, was because that was this incredible movement for Hollywood. Like, this thing came out and made a shit ton of money. People were going nuts. And now everyone who passed on those scripts and were kicking themselves are now going, well, what do we do? What do we do?
How do we cash in on this Star Wars?
This was really expensive, wasn't it? This was an expensive movie.
It cost a lot and didn't make a lot.
No.
They actually built, I forget the exact number, but like 17 or 20 studio sets to get this
there
done.
was.
And say what you will about the movie, that money shows up on the screen. I think this
Agreed.
movie has an incredible set design.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Like that scene where our heroes come in and meet all the thugs and the barbarians that try to rob them and then become part of the D&D party.
Awesome.
The all the rocks and the stones and the mountains that they're crawling around just looks incredible.
Yeah.
No, they did a lot on site, and then I think Leo, you're right. It was like almost 20. They used every set studio they could get a hold of in Hollywood, and then had to go find more, because I think some of this was filmed in Pinewood as well.
in the
And
UK.
it went up against Superman 3 and Jaws 3D also in the
It's-
theater.
I hope
Such
it,
classics.
it went up
The
against
thing about this,
classics
though-
such
Mwah.
as
Oh, chef's kiss. Mwah.
At
got
the
a lot
time,
of time
it
for
didn't do
Jaws
well in the
3D.
theater because it was up against these, if you will, Titanic films
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
characters
of
that
that
people were
time.
associated with. But it was the only original
Yeah.
of its kind movie
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
run for that
Yeah.
time era.
Yep, that's true.
It
Talking
really
about
was.
the Star Wars references, which of course you see right in the beginning with the castle coming in
Oh,
and
oh.
flying in from space, which I completely forgot about. I forgot that the castle flies through space.
it's so forgettable, and it just happens. There it is.
But the first time, like, because I'm coming back to this movie from, you know, watching it as a kid, and the first time that I laughed out loud, which told me that this was going to be a very different ride than I remembered, it shows the castle, and it shows our heroes, you know, come into the castle, and it does that inevitable shot where it pans across and it shows you one of the soldiers that defends the castle. And I thought to myself, this is the first fantasy film that I've ever seen that invented plastics, because their uniforms look fucking stupid and they look like stormtroopers.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. They
I
look
was
like
thinking
bad
that too.
knockoff stormtroopers, or even Spaceballs. This is like pre-Spaceballs instead of giant balls on their heads. It's just black, like
So
shield.
their
And it
death
looks-
screams are the best ever.
And it looks
Yeah.
like it looks like plastic armor. Is
Oh, yeah.
exactly
Oh,
what it looks
totally.
like.
It does.
Totally molded
And when
plastic.
you end up shooting them in the head, it looks like slugs fall out or something.
Oh, of the
Oh,
Slayers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yep.
players. Yeah. I was
But-
like, what? So is that slugs like falling out of their head, or is that their brains, or
It's,
We have
it's
what
a-
is
no
that?
idea.
they're like Daleks, you know,
Yeah.
because there's a tiny little creature inside this big mechanical Dalek, and that's
Oh,
this is a
okay.
similar. Any
Hey,
Doctor
so like
Who,
Men in
any-
Black.
Anybody? Oh,
Yeah,
sure,
the-
yeah.
The only answer I have for you is they have slugs in their brains that crawl out on the floor because it's cool. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
That too.
Nice
that-
effect.
No,
Yeah.
But like
No-
you're saying,
no, yeah.
you see all the money on the screen. Like I was still taken aback. Like yeah, we see the castle fly through the air, but when it like settles in and that whole landscape shot that they do of it with the matte painting, but then like these earthquakes happen and the ground separates and the dust is flying up in the air. I'm just sitting there going, how the fuck did you guys do that? Like
Yeah.
how many different layers did you put on this to make it look good? And then about 3/4 of the way through the movie, when we're going to find the Emerald's Emperor,
I can
and you
count
see the
those layers.
goddamn line
I can
through
count
the
those
film
layers right here.
cell
1, 2, 3.
where they disappear into the rock wall, we went from that in the beginning to this now.
Yeah.
Come on.
But that I think perfectly encapsulates Krull, is that there are some parts that are so good, that are so well put together, that are like swashbucklingly fun, or these amazing sets. And then there will be some like logic of the film that is so gloriously stupid that I just can't like one thing I cannot get over in this film is how everyone they meet has nowhere to be other than on
Yeah.
this journey.
Accurate.
And we're not doing nothing. We'll
They're
come
gonna
with
stop
you.
what they're doing and join and go along with him.
Oh, you're going to the Iron Desert to raid a castle? Sure, I wasn't going anywhere.
The only
got nothing
person
to
that
do
has
today.
a good reason was Ergo, because he's like, I'm not going with you idiots. I'm going this way. And then he gets scared and realizes it is safer in numbers. And he went, oh yeah, I forgot. What I was doing was the direction you were going. So everyone else though is just like, okay, cool. The other thing that struck me as an adult, as a kid, never paid attention to it, was this opening with them coming to the castle to meet, you know, Corwin, to meet his bride and all this stuff. And the dads hate each other. And this guy, he's like, I sent men to help them. They'll be here. And the other dad comes in yelling, like, I thought you were sending men. I sent 20. He goes, I lost 300. And I went, you guys don't act like you lost 300 fucking people. And honestly, death doesn't matter in this movie apparently because no one mourns anyone dying.
I have a point about that.
They're leaving bodies everywhere.
Charlie, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
Did you also notice that when they were riding through the landscape to get to the castle, they were riding through green pastures, and then when the door opened and everybody came in, it was a vast desert behind them?
Yep. I took that as they just went all day. It was a really, really long journey, and we didn't film the last 5 days. That's all you can do.
I just thought there hadn't been a lot of rainfall in their backyard.
The gardeners were off that week.
I have a point about the deaths that I want to bring up because it's didn't notice it as a kid, notice it now. They have this big fight in the castle, and everybody gets shot by the Slayers, and everybody fucking dies, and they kidnap the princess and go away, including the new young king, Coldwyn. And then the old man comes by, puts some pink goop on him, and he's right back to life. Couldn't he have just pink gooped everyone and had an army?
He only
Like,
had
what the fuck?
just enough.
He only had so much goop.
I mean,
I'm sorry, everybody, but this stuff's expensive.
The king is more important than the rest of y'all. Right?
I love that this old man showed up and said,
he has the glaive for almost 3/4 of the movie, and he don't use it for anything except till the very end.
I know. That's
Well,
one thing.
Why?
Why has he not used it?
To be fair,
Was
the guy,
it
the old
because it
man
could only
told him
be
not
used?
to.
Like,
Yeah.
could it only be used at the very end, like directly towards at the beast? Is that why? Or
The old guy that was guiding them said to him, he said, "Don't use it until you need to." And he goes, "When will that be?" He'll go, "You know." And what that means is the third act of the script.
Oh,
He's
Leo, are you talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi?
No, he's later.
Oh, yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, this movie's Obi-Wan. Yes.
But it's like there was so many times that he could have used that thing.
Yep.
Like I'm just thinking of he could have saved the Cyclops. He could have threw that thing in there and made it stay without crushing. Because the Cyclops is my favorite character. Oh my god.
Hannah, you know what I wanted? I wanted him to run out of that cave with the glaive and be like, "Whoa, look, I got this glaive," and throw it and just have it go into the wilderness and like, like a frisbee into a tree. Like,
come back.
Yeah. And also, I was very confused when he just reaches down into that lava and just pulls it out. And I'm like, okay, how did he do that? So obviously he's some sort of chosen one.
It took miles to get to. It took climbing straight up a fucking mountain, like straight up. It took like years for him to get to this challenging fucking route to get to the glaive, and then it's just sitting right there.
Yeah,
like
at the doorway.
The fucking
right there.
power ring was harder to find. And,
what do you think the chances were that there was a very easy path, like right next to the wall he was climbing?
Yeah. He took the long route.
Just have him look around and go, oh shit, there were stairs.
There's a little booth out there selling tickets going, come see the glaive. Yeah.
It's like Mount Washington in Maine. There's like 300 hikers up there and they're all sitting at like picnic tables and shit while he had to climb up the wall to get to the cave.
Oh my gosh.
Leo's thing made me think of Carney's, and it would be like some guy after Cohen left drops another one into the lava and walks away.
Step right up. Get the glaive. $1.
Oh
my god, you have the perfect voice for that.
Yeah, and look, we're doing this with love. We're gonna poke holes in this movie because there's a lot of holes to poke. But this is all with love for this movie.
There's no excuses for this movie at times. You're like, you done screwed up there, son.
But as much as you love a film, there's still moments where it's
I will defend it for sure. But
well, and that's fine. I have no, and I think it should be defended. I will say though, whenever you do read on it and you do see that they spent a shitload of money on it, it just points to the fact that it doesn't always. More money doesn't equal a better movie.
Yeah,
and this one is like this should be the poster child. Like, look at this movie. Look at how much money it had. And look how poorly it did as compared to others that started with less and did more with less.
Yeah.
This was kind of like, this was kind of like
they had no money and they produced an Oscar winner.
This is kind of like, what do we do with all this money? I don't know. Let's make horses fly, and they're on fire. and they don't do it that well. So
no, not at all.
Did I read right that they actually bought, not rented, Clydesdale horses?
A couple. They
bought
got
them?
they got a few,
Those are
and then they
gorgeous
had to
horses,
get
by the way.
they had
They
to
were
rent a couple
beautiful.
more. Yeah.
To be fair, not every movie has the ultimate switchblade that can cut a bitch in 5 different directions. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's money well spent.
We'll talk about how sharp it is later in the movie.
Yeah.
No, like not at all.
Charlie has issues with the glaive.
Butter knife. Oh, because you make axes, you know how to sharpen shit.
I would to Charlie's point about, you know, making fun of the film in a very loving way, to point something out that there's 2 things that show up in the beginning here that I really like, which is that number one, I think Colwyn and his bride, I think they actually have a lot of chemistry. I think that they do really well setting up their love story very quickly with very little time. But also, I think the first fight in this movie is probably the best. This is what I really want this movie to be. When Colwyn is like swashbuckling, running upstairs, cutting ropes, swinging across the way, and, you know, kicking bad guys. I just think
Robbins.
Roberts.
Roberts. Sorry.
Dread Pirate Robbins.
He owned an ice cream shop.
Right.
There's 31 of them.
But I just think that sequence is fantastic, and I really think that captures the spirit of what the film could be.
I agree. And that it's kind of like this movie peaks at the beginning. Like, it's some of the best visuals. It tells a lot of story very quickly, and it's still a 2-hour movie, and there's still a lot you got to get through. And I won't say this movie drags after this, but it does take some time before things start happening.
There's some
by the way,
going on in this movie.
A 2-hour film in 1983 was a big deal.
That's
crazy.
huge.
Nowadays, we're all accustomed to sitting down for 3 hours and watching some superhero epic, but back then, that was almost unheard of.
This was like, you know, Lord of the Rings back then, you know, as far as pomp and circumstance and how long you're going to sit. But again, that could have even been to the detriment of the movie. Moviegoers going, well, I can sit and watch
I got 2 hours to watch a movie.
Right. Also, I didn't read like how many theaters even got it. Because again, a 2-hour movie, less showings.
Right.
You know, an hour and a half, you know, you get at least one extra showing a day.
Yeah, but with the budget they had, surely to goodness they would have had the money to put them out in a lot of theaters.
But
I think
in '83 there were less screens in theaters, so you had like your megaplex had 4 screens instead of 22 or whatever. So if you had one art film over here rolling 2-3 hours long, whatevs. But if you only got 4 screens, you got to turn and burn.
Think about this. There was a time era where theater number 1 would actually have to switch reels because every other hour they're doing a different movie.
Yes.
Right. And there's physical media to be switched instead of a thumb drive.
Yeah,
or
just
something.
digital now.
Hit redo and play again.
Yeah.
No, it's a definitely a different era. And again, it's nothing that was stacked to, like, Krull is a cult classic. It got its resurgence in rentals, and a lot of people that grew up like we did remember it fondly, you know, and we're going to poke a few holes into it, but it's out of love. It's like this movie still was a lot of fun. Like, even watching it last night, you know, Jackie really wasn't into it a whole lot, but I think she got it. She's like, okay, this is about the same, you know, fantasy movies I usually like to watch. And it's an easy enough plot to follow. It's just sometimes I think it just kind of gets lost in its own sauce a little bit. And then it also, it sets things up, and then it pulls the rug out from under itself half a dozen times. I know someone who knows where the castle is. Yeek! He's gone. Oh, wait. Plan B.
You got to give these guys credit. They have plan B, C, D, E, like lined up.
That's the truth.
They
Dude,
are prepared.
If you look at the bottom of his boot, it said Plan Z. So that's pretty much what it was. Go ahead, Leo.
The other problem this film had is some of the jump cuts with Lissa in the beginning. We had this great thing, this great fight. They did 30 seconds of the Beast talking to her, then cut back again to him getting healed, and let's go on this quest. Then 30 seconds of the Beast talking to her. They could have just put all that in one section after this shit was over with. And I think that hurt the films as far as the dragging portions of it.
It does, and that
It
brings up
drags.
something I wanted to talk about too. Is we were talking about praising it, saying you had this much money, we see it on the screen, and you're right, we do. The problem is there's a section of this movie I see it on the screen, and I went, "Wow, y'all just wasted fucking money." And that's
Yeah.
the Beast's fortress. It looks like parts of the Beast. There's an arm reaching out that's a balcony. She walks through what looks to be teeth or mandibles. Like she's standing in an eye, very much
That
like
was supposed to
Sauron.
be some
Yeah,
sort of
'cause-
artistic choice that the fortress and the beast were one thing. They were all it was
Okay,
Oh,
creatures
I had
before
that
the
wrote
castle.
down.
It
I was
did
like, were they supposed to be
mesh.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't tell you that enough. And also,
Yeah, no.
they were really, really proud of the Beast design. And when you see it, it is a cool design, but don't hide it. That creature
I'll give you
is
that.
Yeah.
hidden in this
You got to do
movie.
like you did in Legend and just show that motherfucker. You know.
Yeah, give
Yeah.
me Tim Curry as the goddamn. Well, I know he's
Yeah,
not the
when-
devil, but he's the devil.
Yeah.
When
You
you
know,
when
the
you
demon.
break through that first layer, I want that monster to come out, and it never did. He remained in the background, ethereal.
So I'm actually
you're
gonna
champing at the bit, Steven.
because I'm gonna disagree with everybody.
Okay.
I love the way the Beast is shot in this movie. I totally love it. I think it makes him look so much larger than life because every time they show him, they either have the camera at a low angle looking up, and he's never in a scene with another person, so you don't get any sense of size. Plus, also, sometimes when they show him, it's an extreme close-ups of his eyes or of his mouth. And so I actually think that makes him feel like something much bigger than we can even remotely comprehend. I think if we saw him like right up front, he'd look like a Power Ranger villain. Like,
What's wrong with that? I love Power Rangers.
Right, but
I
you're
do
not wrong.
too.
And this is,
But
I agree with
be
you.
honest here.
it's not a dig on Power Rangers.
Actually,
It's a very different movie.
Shut your mouth about Power Rangers.
that one scene of half of his face looked like Psycho Gorman, so I'll give it that.
Fair enough.
This is the only thing I'll throw back at you on that, because I agree with you. But when you're telling me you had all this money, and it's even like in the notes that this thing was one of like the first fully animatronic creatures done for Hollywood. Like there was, they have said there were no cables, no hoses. It was there. That just tells me we spent a shitload of money on it and we didn't show anyone. Yeah. And it's like, if this had been a lower budget, say you told me they did this for $100,000 in 1983 and that looked that good, I'd be like, bravo, fucking amazing.
You
This
might
is
have
the
answered
best
your own
looking
question
demon.
though. If they spent that much money on it, and for some reason there were
Hit it.
wires sticking out of it, or it didn't come together quite right because the guy didn't wrench it together properly, they're
That's
going to want to
possible.
hide that, so they're going to put him in this ethereal fog in the background and make him look
Right.
however.
Well, just don't tell me all the great things you did to get it there and then not show it to me. It's
That's fair.
But the Beast, the Beast design it's badass. There is that one like full body shot where he's like in partly shadow and they're shining the light just right where it's catching just the highlights of him, and he's talking to her, and I'm like, this motherfucker looks like straight out of a nightmare. Like it's cool. And then nothing again from him other than a hand jumping up out of the ground or just a shot here, a shot there. But it was just, to me, it was just like, let's throw money at it and build these gorgeous sets that don't help the story, don't propel anything. And that poor girl, even the actress has bashed it. She's like, what the fuck did I do in this entire movie?
I know they dubbed her, and they dubbed
Yeah, they
Robbie
did.
Coltrane too. Like, why?
Because
Well, she was
American
English.
Hollywood, especially back in the 80s, feels like British accents aren't understood by the audience, so they dub them over.
Yep.
Right.
It's
But
stupid.
wasn't the dad British? Wasn't her dad
Yeah,
British?
I think it's depending on how
A lot
many
of them are
lines.
British.
I think it's like if they only had a handful of lines, they probably didn't pay the extra to dub them. But because she had multiple lines as kind of a main character, they dubbed it. Just ask Dolph Lundgren. Just ask all these guys that have gotten dubbed over the years, just because they have an accent. Yet Liam Neeson gets to speak with his own accent.
Yeah.
That's right, everyone. Liam Neeson is in this.
I know
movie.
he's got a terrible
Yes, he
haircut too.
Yes, he does.
Does he have a good haircut today?
Don't he have like
I was gonna
braids
say,
or
that's
something
pretty
hanging off the
standard for
back?
him.
I can't. Mm.
That's his Padawan braid. Come on.
Oh my gosh. No.
I do understand what you're saying, though, especially about the fortress, because it is a little weird when you look at the fortress as an adult, because it's kind of avant-garde for this kind of a film. When she's standing in the claw, I thought to myself, if she were on a motorcycle, this would be a Meatloaf album. Like, this is very...
You're not wrong. That's exactly what that
Yeah,
looked
you're
like.
not wrong.
And so when you combine that with her in these like these like oval rooms and these like weird, like vaginal passages, like this is a Wonders of Life science video. Like, it's just such an odd look inside.
It's like an adult version of Magic School Bus all of a sudden. You're just going through, but and there's no, I don't know if they were trying to go for the palace itself. Whenever you're in it, is almost like a different realm or a different plane of existence. Because when you look at the palace on the outside, it's a fucking rock and metal, and it's all straight and angular and all this stuff. But when we're like in the fortress, it doesn't look like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like 3 rooms. It was like the only thing we didn't see was the kitchenette and the bathroom. That was it. Like, just 3 rooms
Who's
over
cooking,
and over.
Who's cooking for all the Slayers? Where's the cafeteria? Where's the rec room? I want to see some Slayers playing pool, maybe some ping pong back and forth. You know,
I
you
don't
got to
think
keep
anybody really
camaraderie up.
Yeah.
You can't have a good team unless
Yeah,
everybody's
she's
a little
just-
happy. You know, blow off some steam, take your helmet off, let your slug run free for a little while. It's totally fine.
That's a major problem in workplaces right now.
let your slug run wild.
Slug flag fly.
That's it, man. I want to talk about my favorite character in
Bring
this
it.
movie, and my favorite character is Torgal, the leader of the ruffians,
the
the
ruffians.
mercenaries,
The dirty
the villains.
bearded.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is my dude. Like I'm with him. Like I am always been like on the fringe. I don't have to be like the hero, but I can be like that anti-hero, but still going to try and help save the day. at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
movie. And that's Torgal. My only complaint, and it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is dude lost all his best friends. And at the end of the movie, this motherfucker's still smiling his ass off like,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I
happy
get to
be
be
there.
Lord Marshal? Whoa, worth it.
Dude, he upgraded. He just had to cut the dead weight out of his life.
That's
I guess.
perfect. Yes.
And while I do think that the deaths of those characters create, some stakes at very like important points.
Yes.
You don't learn any of those characters' names until they
Not
die. Like,
That's right.
That's
right.
so they're like they'll die. Like a spike will go through them. They'll be like, no, Rogada, and you're like, I don't know who that person is.
It's like the dude that
Well,
was
when they made
sinking
the
in the
action figure,
quicksand.
you knew.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that kid
we-
died a couple of times.
What,
The
the child?
one child, or the young
Titch,
the
I
young
think was his
man.
name.
Sure, you could say
yeah.
anything, Hannah.
Yeah,
I'll agree with you.
Atreyu, the kid that looks like
Atreyu,
Atreyu.
it's
Sure,
Atreyu.
Atreyu, yes, exactly. I
They
swear
did
to
have
God,
a
that
swamp of
kid-
despair in this movie, so that worked.
They
I
did.
swear to
and,
God, he died a couple of times.
Nah.
and to go back to
can't-
praising this movie, that set of the
that
swamp
kid's-
of
is he
with
still
the
alive?
quicksand was
That was actually a full set. They built that whole
Yes.
fucking thing too. So it's not like they went out and found a swamp and filmed in it. So
They-
like,
they were
good for the
filming
set designers.
the crew,
Oh,
the
oh,
film
are you
guys were
saying
actually
that-
under the water part, like the quicksand. Like they're
Yeah.
in wetsuits filming like the low angle shots of them being in the quicksand. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money for a movie that needed a couple more passes over, I guess it is.
Yeah, the script is the problem. Yeah.
The script
Yeah.
really is the
Yeah.
big problem.
Definitely.
I don't think the script is rough as much as it's just basic. It's bad guy steals girl, hero goes get her.
Well,
It's been done a
And
thousand
then-
There's
times.
just too
then
much
weird
going
shit
on
happens in between.
between
Yeah.
then and when you get the girl.
Yeah.
which
Right.
is why Charlie was saying like this is a Dungeons and Dragons movie. So the script is save the princess. How are we saving the princess? Roll a d20. That's
Uh-huh.
how that's
Yeah.
how it happens.
That's really it.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you just meander your way, and maybe the dungeon master isn't great at telling a story, but that's what it felt like. It's just these things happen and they're all kind of disjointed. They feel
Yeah.
like we played on Monday, we can't play till Saturday, and then we'll play next Tuesday. And okay, does everybody remember when
Where we
were
were.
riding on horses and they were flying through the air? Okay, don't worry about that anymore. We're at the castle now. Oh, okay, we're at the castle.
Yeah.
I think that's the
So
most
true.
accurate
So right,
description of this
Right.
I've heard.
Right.
Is a dungeon master that doesn't actually know what the fuck he's doing.
He's
He's
not
just
as
making
good
up
at
as
the
he goes along.
All
continuity.
these things are happening,
Yeah.
but we don't
It's
know
like-
why they're happening. Like it's just
I totally
just
see that.
happening. Like
I totally
okay.
see that.
Has
Yep,
anybody
this-
seen Dave? Like, yeah,
No.
He's
He went
Just
out
kill
for-
him. Just
No.
kill his character.
He went out for wings. Kill him.
Like, is Dave coming back? No, he got pissed off at John the other night, so he said he's not coming back. He's the fucking seer. He's the one that knows where the fortress is going to appear.
Doppelganger, kill the seer. We're
It's
moving
really
on.
important. Oh, he's not showed up no more. He broke up with his girlfriend. Okay, so
His
kill him.
mom
yeah.
drowned in
But
it.
now, how do we
Moment.
find the Black Fortress? Aha! If we turn to page 3, there is a
There.
white spider.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan character is like the NPC that they just use to lead
right.
everybody to the next plot point.
Follow me to the next thing.
It's true.
I'll give them credit that they answered a question I had even as an adult. It actually had been a little bit. I think it was last year, and I barely paid attention to it, but I wasn't paying attention to the nuance of it. But every time they kept like, we got to figure out where the fortress is, because every 24 hours it appears somewhere else.
Mhm.
And I go, what if you're not 24 hours away from where it's about to appear the next day? Like, can you give me a range of a week of
Big
Fire
planet.
horses.
every time
That's
it's
Fire,
and
fire
that's how they
horses.
did it. They gave me the fire horses, but before that, I was like, why not tell me like the next 5 days? What's its schedule look like? Is it here?
What's his schedule?
Maybe
No,
a little
I-
closer on Wednesday?
I actually agree with
Share
you
your
on
Outlook
that.
calendar with me, please.
We went to 3 different future tellers and sightseers, or whatever the fuck you want to call
Yeah.
them. And each one of them was like, well, maybe tomorrow it'll be here. Like, can you give me like, what's the 4-day? I get a
Right.
7-day forecast from the weatherman. What the fuck?
I had so many questions about this fortress too. Like I had so many questions. Like how do you get rid of like sewage? Does it have like an RV hookup that you have to
The gray water is expelled when it
You gotta go
Very
hook
well.
her up and empty it out.
just leaves it behind?
There's a tiny little pile as the castle dissipates.
We
it's a
we
big
didn't see the
pile.
time that the 24 hours they landed next to a Texaco and they just got everything.
What
That actually
happens-
tracks though, because they said they have to be in the castle when they were climbing up the edge of it. They have to be
Right.
inside before dawn.
Yeah, before
So if
yeah.
they're evacuating out the side, then that's just going to pile up and they
Oh.
go away.
Don't
So-
use evacuating again, please.
What happens though? Like we see the Slayers go out and
Use that
do a
word
raid.
again.
What happens if they don't check their watch and they're like, "Oh shit, it's about to leave"?
This
Anybody
guy's just
know
got his ass
when
out the
it
window and he's like,
didn't switch over for daylight savings.
I was like, "Oh mother, like, oh, this guy's gonna kill me, sir." We've got like an hour to get there, and it's gonna be gone. Well, where does it go? Did you get the schedule? Not my department. I don't know what the schedule was, sir.
By the way, I had forgotten that the planet Krull. I didn't realize Krull.
I was
the
gonna
name
bring
of
that
the,
up.
The
Yeah,
fucking
the planet-
globe
yeah.
that they were on. Yeah.
Didn't realize
I was an adult before I realized
Yeah.
the planet is Krull. You know
I
how I
realized that for
found
this
out?
viewing. Yeah.
It was in the trailer the first time I ever saw the trailer to this. They go, Planet Krull. I'm like, motherfucker, that's what
Yeah.
Krull is. I thought it was the glaive. I thought it was Cohen. I thought it was.
Yeah. I grew up thinking the
Beast, I
hero's
would
name
think.
was Krull. Yeah. Like
Right.
his last
yeah,
name
I
or
would
whatever.
think it was
yeah.
the Beast. Yeah,
Fucking crazy.
that's kind of what.
That's insane.
So I really like the spider scene. I think Leo was talking about
Oh, the spider
it
scene is
earlier.
good.
Yeah, I really liked it because I love stop motion and I just love the spot. Yeah, the
Yes.
spider.
Yeah, that was a
that
great
was
little
so
twist.
cool. But I was taken aback when he gets in there and he's talking to this widow or whatever. And come to
black
find
widow?
out, they were lovers, I guess, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
had his baby, had his baby and then killed it. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, what the heck? Oh
It's-
my
This,
God.
this is what I was talking about earlier, where I understood there was plot to this for the first time watching it now.
Yeah.
If you
She's
want
like,
to call
yeah,
it
that's
that.
why I'm stuck here because I killed our kid, and he's just like, okay, I forgive you. Like,
Right?
I'm not
Yeah.
what?
She goes, you
Yeah.
must hate me. He goes, I forgave you a long time ago. Motherfucker, you didn't know what she did when you forgave her.
Exactly.
It's easy to forgive somebody when you don't even know the child existed
Exactly.
in the first place.
I
We had
guess.
a child. Whatevs.
Yeah, I
oh.
laugh during this scene because somebody says, something along the lines of like, I know you can't forgive me. And I thought to myself, actually, he can forgive you real quickly, like right now.
Immediately.
Well,
Oh my God.
what makes it worse though is he's like, really? Where's he at? And then she's like, oh, I killed it. Like,
Yeah.
the baby, I killed it.
I was pissed at you. I couldn't get my revenge on you, so I killed our
killed the
kid,
kid.
and that's now why I'm this web widow creature. It's my punishment. Which I don't know what witch cursed her into that shit, because that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So is the spider her guardian? Is the spider her torturer? What is happening? Because she does the sand thing, gives him the sand so he can get past the spider so it doesn't kill him. So now she doesn't have the sand, and apparently it goes and kills her. But I'm just like, where do you eat? Where's your kitchen, lady? Where's your bathroom? You just been sitting in this web hole for eons.
Yeah.
I have a thing about this scene, because as much as I love this, and I do, it's my locked-in memory from this movie. She gives this hourglass a turn that gives him a chance to get to the center of the web without the spider killing him. They have their conversation. She says, I'm going to help you by giving you this sand, smashes the hourglass and puts it in his hands. And obviously you can't hold on to sand very easily when you're trying to climb out of a fucking spider
Don't
web.
worry about that.
Why didn't you just give him the jar?
The hourglass.
Why didn't you just
Exactly.
hand him the fucking container?
That's
what is this shit?
That's what Tupperware's for. Just give him.
Moreover,
something.
this
The
idiot
dude
could
didn't
have
even-
like put it in his pocket,
Give me a
wrapped
Ziploc.
it up
Why is
in a
it on his
cloth.
pocket?
Exactly.
See,
There
that
were
would have been,
options.
Well,
that would have
I-
been an awesome ending. Like, he was there to save Cohen's life, and he's like got this last little bit of his sand in his hand, and he knows if he throws it, he dies. And the beast is running at him, and he goes, cha-cha-cha, pocket sand. And then he dies because he throws the sand out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Spider comes out of nowhere. Eats. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I needed.
Well, I will say I think her breaking that hourglass was more like a symbolic thing, kind of showing that she was giving up. I
Yeah,
guess
no, I
giving up
get it,
kind of
because she said this
controlling
was the
this.
sand of her life or whatever.
Yeah. And so
So-
then, 'cause
These
then
are
the
the
spider
sands of
comes
time.
and kills her.
Oh, my
So
God.
Well, we don't know. See, here's the
Well-
thing. If this movie was made now, you would have a prequel on how she got in the web in the first place. And then you would have a sequel movie, because you never saw the spider kill her. You just saw it bouncing off the center dome and then
Right.
we cut away. So
Sounds like a
She's
very
got two more
Disney way
stories in
to
her.
tell a story.
you listening, peeps? We need a prequel. It's a Krull.
Peter Jackson's listening right now, taking notes.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Stop that! Nope.
He goes, and then
Keep talking, boys. Keep talking.
you got let them cook. Let them cook.
I think what Krull does, and you can argue they do it really well or really terrible, and it gets to this whole spider scene, is that they've learned that in a fantasy story, all you have to do is say a rule like really authoritatively, and it just sticks. It just sticks. And so, the red sand thing, she's like, this will be the sand of both of our lives. Why? Who the fuck knows? It's the same with the glaive. It's it's like, this is like, you cannot use the glaive now. You have to use it later. Why? I don't know. I think that you could literally say anything in this movie. You could be like, I'm sorry, but like I'm the seer and I can only be surrounded by buxom warriors, and it has to stick. Like, that's the rule.
Keep going with. We'll talk more about Buxom Warriors.
Pete, I've got other movies for that. Okay, we're covered.
I don't want to see Barbarians.
No, I got.
They're
others
buxom.
for you.
They have
They're buxom.
I mean, you're talking
bigger
big
boobs than
chested. That's
most people.
Conan, right?
Right. Yeah, come on, man. No, we got plenty of movies for that. Don't worry about that. We don't need that.
I showed you one last week, and you're upset about it.
That wasn't Barbarians, and that wasn't good. So that's the way you go. That's two fails in a row, sir. That's not how that's going to work here at all.
But now we're here.
And now we're here. But now we get onto where now we get the siege onto the fortress, I guess is where we can talk next. Because as much as I would love to talk about the fire mares thing, I hate it. I hate the fire mare thing in this movie.
Well, what are they going to do?
They can go
Get
1,000
Cadillac and
leagues in a
drive
day.
there? Like,
well, no, just make the fortress
and...
make the fortress not be 1,000 leagues away. I don't know.
Also, oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, are Clydesdales like horses you would even find in the wild?
why not?
Sure,
on planet
you
Krull,
just
they're
don't-
probably everywhere.
I was just thinking.
You don't typically
They're like
ride
seagulls
them.
there. They're like pigeons. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I guess so. Because when I
Damn
saw, I was like, "Those are Clydesdales horses. Like
Yeah.
those are nice horses.
They're
like,
draft horses. They're beautiful.
Ma, there's a Clydesdale in the garden again. Oh,
Stop feeding it. Get rid of it. Stop feeding it.
and
You
Joe
got like
said
a
that one
hummingbird
guy,
feeder
he,
out,
like-
but it's for Clydesdales, and they're all just like,
yeah. And then there was one guy, he jumped to like get on one of them and he like fell off of it and they kept it in the movie.
Clydesdales are big, man. You gotta jump pretty high to get on the back.
They're
of a
massive. If
Clydesdale.
you've ever seen
Yeah,
one in real
they
life,
are, yeah.
they're a massive horse. But yeah, to me, it's the weakest part of the movie. It's just
I will
don't
agree
know
with
how
you.
to
I
do it.
think the easy solution to that is, hey, it showed up and it's over there.
Basically,
Yeah.
there's no
There it is.
passage
Yep.
of time in this movie as far as the journey. Like they end up in places fairly quickly. So
Well,
you could have.
that's what I mean with the jump cuts is they say there's like the guy will tell Coldwin, hey, this is a 2-day ride. And the next thing we jump to his bride for 30 seconds and we
Yeah.
jump back and they're at the place. And you
Ta-da.
don't get to see the past. Not that I want 15 hours of
Right,
extraneous
there's-
shots of them walking across
No, but
deserts, but
there are
you
ways
know.
to show passages of time
Yeah.
better.
yeah.
The best passage of time scene is the nighttime scene where they are like, oh, don't you have a wife around here somewhere? Where he's talking to Liam Neeson.
You mean
was
when
very
they
funny.
couldn't cook for themselves, so they had to call a woman
Mhm.
into
Yeah.
It's
the
very
campfire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
one of his 7
Don't you have a wife
wives?
around here?
Yeah.
Can she cook?
He's
So
a
funny.
well-traveled
So funny.
man.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
totally fine.
I-
Lame man.
I laughed because I thought of talking to some hypothetical person, them saying there aren't a lot of women in this movie, and me like the way Leo and I would joke, be like, look, there are so many great roles. Like you
That's
can be a
right.
princess or you can feed the extras.
You can be a princess or a handmaiden. That's all you get.
I
Right.
couldn't get over it. I
or
never
a
saw
kept
this
spider
scene this
thing.
way before, where he's like, "You've got 7 wives, great. We are bandits, thieves, cutthroats. We are people who live off the land, but we can't build a campfire or cook a fucking meal. Get a woman, bring her in." Like,
And I don't think they're very good cooks because Ergo's over there doing all the cooking, and he's like, "Get the fuck away! I'm gonna keep
it's true, yeah.
I'm gonna cook."
They
this
had
shit."
somebody
I
right
loved
there.
Ergo too. Oh,
He could
I
have
loved him.
magicked up some fucking steaks or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he could have got Goose. It's totally fine. I did
Did
like
y'all
Ergo.
recognize
Could
him? He was
Ergo
the
turn
teacher
into a
from
cow?
Willy Wonka. The guy that played Ergo.
What's that?
Oh yeah, he was the weird science teacher from You
Yeah,
only
Willy
open
Wonka.
2 chocolate bars. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
Really? He was
Yeah.
in Willy Wonka? No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
he was Charlie Bucket's science teacher.
Yes,
Mr.
he was.
Mr. Turkentine.
That's the
Mr.
one.
Turpentine?
Yeah.
Turkin, like turkey.
I'm sorry,
Turkey.
I immediately recognized him when I saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's one of the more like
Annoying?
no, I
No.
think
Oh.
I
Oh,
was
I'm
gonna say
sorry.
more
I mean-
developed because he kind of takes to Titch, and you get that soft spot about him where he turns
Yeah.
into a
Ew.
puppy.
He's a
and-
puppy.
Yeah,
Little basset
and I like
hound.
that. He makes him a little bit
Yeah.
more endearing to me, and then he does the only thing he can be to be worthwhile in a battle. He turns into a tiger, and I
Yeah.
was
That's
like,
pretty
okay,
cool.
that was badass.
That
Better
works.
than like some tiny armadillo. Like I have armor and
He
starts
could have
running
been an
after-
ostrich. Just
That
been
would've
like,
been
"Rah,
hilarious.
Just
Those
do a
little
hippo,
bastards are
man.
mean.
Those bastards are awful.
man."
They had a big budget, Pete. Not that big.
Not
It's
that big.
totally fine.
No.
I
We can
think
afford-
hippos are less controllable than tigers. By
We can
the way.
afford tigers. We got the one from Beastmaster and gave it a
Yeah,
shower.
right.
So that's
The one they
exactly-
spray painted black.
So sometimes when we cover these kinds of movies, I'm very curious to know what it is like to watch them as someone who has no nostalgia for them. So I'm curious, Anna and Hannah, from your perspective, what is this like how does this movie read to you?
Boring.
Oh,
fair.
It was such a fucking slog for me to get through yesterday.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry. I don't want to.
Don't
I don't mean
don't
to shit
be
on
sorry.
it,
Don't
but I've got to let
apologize.
it out.
Go for it.
Have you seen a lot of these kind of weird movies?
I
Like,
felt the same
like
way about
Ator
Conan.
and
Like Hunter loved it, and he just gushed about it for an hour and a half.
you're not.
I'm just.
That wasn't your thing.
No.
I
Sorry.
kind of
Hey, no,
felt
you like what you like.
Anna wasn't saying
Own
a
it.
whole lot, but I also got this vibe from her, and I'm like, I think she's not saying a lot.
This is your opportunity to let it out. Like, you got the floor.
Let it out.
Well,
Let your
for one, it's too fucking long. Like you had all
It is too long.
okay. 2, you have all this budget. Could you have not hired somebody better to write a better script? Like once the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing was scrapped, especially when you're putting that much money into it in '83, when that kind of money didn't go into stuff a lot, unless it was like Star Wars, and then it was a blockbuster. So I get they were hoping for that, but Star Wars has a story. That's fun to follow along with. I like Star Wars. I think it's great. But yeah, it was just such a slog to get through.
Look, we're not going to judge. You should hear our thoughts on Cabin in the Woods. So,
oh yeah, there you go.
Play that episode. People love us for that one.
Sigourney Weaver is a horror icon, sir.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. This cut out. What?
Yeah, sorry. It's,
I'm sorry. Is
earbuds
the magic spell wearing off finally?
Bye, Stephen and Leo. Bye.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just gonna say I think Anna would have enjoyed Krull a lot more than Krull, apparently.
Really?
Hey, at least vampires had boobs in it.
Yes!
I'll give it that.
Damn.
There were lots of boobs. in it.
Wow. She took a Pete pick over your guys.
Sorry.
'Cause
First
it's a good
impressions.
movie.
Our first impressions aren't going too well.
How bad do you feel right now?
Oh my god.
Be warned, Leo. I told Charlie yesterday, Vampires is in our next year.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
cool.
Oh boy.
So excited.
He's celebrating. He looked like he just won a jackpot. He landed on red.
So good.
They got
you
to
can
it
find out
first.
how to hack into our show. You can be on.
Hey, I have a long list of lesbian vampire movies if you need something different.
Lesbian Vampire Hunters is a great movie.
Okay, I don't know how we got off on that, but
Sorry, that was my fault. You asked me what I
No, you're
thought.
fine.
We should have just we should have let the conversation die when Pete said I have a long list of vampire lesbian movies.
You guys just kept fueling that fire. I'm over here like,
Hard
so
stop,
Hannah,
right?
what were your thoughts?
I have the same thoughts as Anna, but I think I enjoyed it more than she did because like I said, I grew up on Clash of the Titans, and this really had those vibes for
Yes.
me. So I was able to enjoy it a little bit more, but I have to say I was lost during like I said, I didn't understand like how he would so he was like how is he reaching into this lava? Okay, it's just there, and then he doesn't use this weapon throughout the whole movie, and then like he could have saved all these peeps, but and then I was just like, okay, so what is Krull? Is that like the planet or is that the creature? And then I'm like, is Krull and the castle like one? Because he's telling her that he knows anywhere she goes in the castle. Yeah, I just had a lot of questions. And,
Fair.
So, and it was just, it's really jumpy, which we've talked about that, and just choppy. And I just feel like some things could have been delved into a little bit more, maybe explained a little bit better, maybe
they didn't
some
pick
better
up so many
dialogue.
people they met.
Yes,
along the way.
yeah.
There was a big cast.
And it could have been shorter. It was pretty long. When I saw it was 2 hours, I was like, man, like, okay.
Me too.
That was a party of
But-
15 people. I counted them. 15.
Only,
They
what,
better
4
tip good,
survived
damn it.
again?
And
I'm
all
working the
but 4
restaurant
survive, right?
Yeah.
But and yeah, I loved the creatures, and I loved, like I said, the Cyclops was my favorite. Like he was so cool. Loved him.
He's cool.
His design was pretty cool. So
Now
yeah,
I will say real quick too, the special effects were great in
Yeah.
some
Oh, yeah.
in a lot of the scenes. Some of them I was like, but a
For
lot of them
83?
I
Yeah,
was
like
like,
the horse
okay,
spot
yeah,
on.
exactly. For 83, I was like, okay, now I see where some of this money went.
This is
Yeah.
probably, like you were talking about the Cyclops, this is probably one of my favorite designs of a Cyclops, because it's not like putting its eye like right in the middle of where your eyes are or all the way on top of their head. They did it correctly, I guess. Like you can still kind of see where his eyes naturally are. But I'm not focused on that. I'm looking at him as a Cyclops, and I'm like, I actually like this one.
And the fact that they got him to blink that eye every once in a while.
That was really cool touch.
Yeah.
It does bug me a little bit that the eye doesn't move.
Yeah.
The eye,
it doesn't.
He turns his head to move it, and I thought, well, you could say that's a Cyclops thing, but I find there's something a little off about him.
Yeah.
And I agree, he's actually my favorite character, 100%. But there is something I just would hope that if they do Krull too, I just want that eye to move a little bit.
It can move some.
Is that called the uncanny valley? Is that what that is? Like,
That's what that is, yeah.
It's breaking my belief of what's going on or something.
Yeah, you're doing so well on things, but then all of a sudden something snaps you out of it, and it's as simple as his eye doesn't articulate. Take some of the Beast money you didn't show us and make the fucking Cyclops' eye move. You know, just simple.
Everybody is capturing the like conundrum for me of this movie. And I loved what was being said about the spider scene, because when it just like camera pulls back and it shows you like the mentor character climbing the webs, it's fucking gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
It is stunning to look at. And then he gets inside the actual like dome and is talking to his crazy ex-girlfriend who killed his son because he couldn't kill her.
Are there any other kinds of ex-girlfriends than crazy ex-girlfriends?
Pete, I don't know your life. I can't.
Fair.
But then that scene just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like they have to keep the stakes really high, when if they just lowered them a little bit and made them ex-lovers and she exiled herself for some reason, the scene would have worked fine.
I agree. A little too much exposition sometimes and trying to dig too deep. Now I will I will defend it a little bit, because I know the original plan was this was supposed to be like a trilogy. Like this was supposed to be Krull
really?
1,
Ouch.
then Krull. Well, that's why at the very end they go, and they shall rule over Krull, and
over the universe.
Their son shall be the ruler of the galaxy. They were setting up more stories. They really wanted to be Star Wars, because by this time Empire had been out,
of course,
and there's already talk of Return coming out. Especially if you're in that, I'm sure some of the guys that worked on this movie worked on those. So this is like, oh shit, we can do that. Let's go. Let's get our own trilogy. So
I can't imagine how much story that would be.
I would love to see a Krull 2 where the son is the ruler of the galaxy, but he's a fucking asshole. And everybody's got to come and get him.
That would be
you know what I mean?
Find out that, it's not actually Colwyn's son. The Beast actually did
that's it.
impregnate her or something. And then
because he can shapeshift.
Yeah,
So.
he
looked,
which is cool. I did like that
like
scene.
A golden rain.
Too. Yeah.
When Colwyn peers and then he looks normal until she looks at him like that's not him, and his eyes go red. I was like, that's badass. I know it's just contacts, but it was effective. And again, that's where less is more to be effective for me. His outfit was darker, the evil twin of Colwyn, but that worked so well. And it's keep it simple sometimes. You're going too extravagant. You're doing too much in a movie, and you get lost in the sauce. And I think that's kind of what happened with Anna and a little bit with Hannah, is just so much is going on. You don't really have anything to latch onto. Like we should be latched on to Colwyn.
Yeah.
Everything should be Colwyn centric, but yet now we follow the old man into the spider's lair. We follow the Cyclops doing his things. You never just get everyone is behind Colwyn and this is the man we are supposed to follow.
Yeah.
I actually agree with that. And I think that is it's the characters and the dialogue that hurt the movie for me. But then what will happen is they'll show me some beautiful scene, some great fight. The music will swell and it's like a mind.
And I forgot. I totally
and I forget all of it. I'm like, this is the greatest movie ever.
Yeah,
and
the
then
music is great.
Yeah, well, you'll get
Yeah,
moments where you're just like, okay, that was kind of cool. Then slog, and then you get a moment of the freaking Cyclops throwing a spear into the back of the seer because he's this changeling and his eyes have turned black and he's about to kill Colwyn, and you're just like, it's this hero moment. You're like, fuck yeah,
By the
Cyclops,
way,
go!
that Cyclops
Cyclops
tearing
go.
ass across the swamp was fucking amazing.
I love
watching him
it
run
was.
like a Olympic sprinter.
How
Was
how
like,
did
Yeah.
he
shit.
see? Leo, do you know about the prosthetic? Could he actually see, or was he running blind through the?
I got to be honest, I haven't done a deep dive into it. I should, because with the fresh perspective I have now seeing this movie
Right.
instead of the fuzzy childhood nostalgia, I'm
There-
very
yeah.
curious about these things. I might
They-
actually get back to you
Yeah.
on that because
So like the beauty of the Godzilla movies with Hiro Nakajima
Hmm.
in the original Godzilla films, there were little bitty, like where the head stood up
Yeah.
there, and there were little bitty
Slits.
It wasn't slits; they were holes.
Were they
legit
holes?
And sadly, as the Blu-rays have come out, you can see all that stuff. So if you're watching a Godzilla movie, please go back and just watch it on VHS. It's way better, I promise you.
There is some. I think there actually was a documentary done when the movie was being filmed. So there's an older documentary like behind the scenes. But I was looking in some of the trivia. I didn't see anything about his like appliance, but I never thought about that, Pete. That's how well it did it. I'm not
Right.
thinking of the actor can't see
Yeah,
and he's
Right.
running.
That's the first thing I thought of because of my love of monster movies. or
Right. Well,
giant
that
monster
makes
movies.
sense.
As
But-
he's running through that forest, I'm like, this dude cannot see.
yeah.
I don't know how you because he's
It
a
could have
tall
been
man,
like
and
a-
it's a face on his face, right?
They could have put like opaque lenses over his eyes
Maybe
and then did like
just
more of a
enough for him to
translu-
see.
like
That's what I was
barely
wondering with
make
the
out.
makeup.
Yeah.
You were describing that earlier about the way they did his eyes, and you could kind of still see where his normal
You
eyes
see the
would be as an
sockets.
actor.
Yeah.
And
Maybe it was-
it's flesh colored, but I wonder if it's flesh colored but see through.
Right. That
Maybe,
opaqueness.
maybe.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was the one thing that just fascinated me. I'm like, man, I don't know how you're doing this
There,
because it looks like you're running blind.
Yeah.
there might be a killer blooper reel because of that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, maybe
Could you
so.
imagine?
Run.
That'd be
Whack!
awesome.
Just
So,
him running into the swamp over and over and over again.
yeah.
Son of a bitch.
But we were talking about the music, and James Horner did the he
James
composed
Horner?
this, and
No
guess what else
shit.
he did? He did Aliens.
Yep.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Hell
he's
yeah.
done a bunch
And
of stuff.
James Horner's legit. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
done a lot of stuff.
That's one of the reasons this movie is so amazing, to be very honest. The music
Yeah,
is,
the music's
like
great.
Steven was talking about, once that swells up and the music
Mhm.
hits, you forget
Mhm.
about all the dumb bullshit. Just
Yeah.
get right back into the film again.
But it has that
100%.
blockbuster action sound to it
Yeah,
all throughout it. Epic.
Yeah. When the Cyclops brings up when they're, after the seer dies and the Cyclops is like, we can get the 1,000 leagues or whatever it is in a day, fire mares, which
Mhm.
were apparently something no one had thought about
Duh,
earlier in the
it's right
film.
there, right over there.
Right.
You mean
If
like
they're
the
everywhere and
eagle?
it's easy.
Like the Eagles in Middle Earth? We could have gotten there way faster and easier.
Oh yeah.
Then Deus Ex Machina. But
Yes.
but the fire mares, like, as funny as it is that the Cyclops so quickly is just like, I've got an idea, and then it cuts to them collecting them going. I disagree with you, Charlie, in that I find that thrilling.
Hmm.
I do wish the story could get us there so that we can have that hero's moment where he is both going to save the day but also enjoying the journey, which is what that point is. So, like, he's looking around and it's exciting because he's flying. So it doesn't land how they get there, but I do love that moment. I think the music is incredible. I think the shots of the little fire feet going across the hills is really incredible.
It could have been done a little better, I think. And they do spend a lot of time on it, and that gets me. But you just said something that made me think. Another thing they're missing is they set this up as he is becoming a new king. Like, they're joining kingdoms. They even make the point to say, the dads go, this is no longer my kingdom. The other one goes, this is also no longer my kingdom. Our children now make one. This should also be a journey for him to learning how to be a king, to learning how
Yes.
to be a leader. And they kind of drop that. They just play off the fact that he is already a warrior. He is already the great. And they don't give him anything to, I hate to say it like this. It's not like G.I. Joe or He-Man. He doesn't learn anything along the way.
Yeah.
Except everyone's expendable as long as we win the end of the movie.
Well, and the trick is they touch on that earlier too, because his mentor, this old guy, I forget his name, I'm sorry, but he's
Veneer, I think.
Something like that. And he talks to Caldwell and he says there's more to being a king than just being brave or just being this.
Right.
And they have that lovely moment right there where they could have dove into this very early in the film, actually.
Right.
And they hit slightly touched on it and then fucking forgot about it.
It falls away. And now it's the only thing they drive home, and hell, they even end the movie on is I have the key to all the manacles.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, only the king and only the Lord Marshal have these keys, and that's all we're told. And then even the voiceover at the end, they will rule Krull, yada yada yada. But it's like he had a journey, but it's not quite the hero's journey I enjoy with a lot of the movies I've watched. Like Conan learned something.
He doesn't come from nothing and becomes something. He starts as a king who builds a castle in the swamp, and that falls over. And then he builds a second castle, and that burned down, and then also fell in the swamp.
Is this the Three Little Pigs?
So that's what I was just thinking. So
but the fourth castle stood.
Anna, talk over him.
There's a conversation that happens in the beginning before the wedding. I think someone's talking to Lissa about how a good warrior can't be a good husband.
Yes.
I think that's what this movie's about. Like, he's proving that not only can I be a badass warrior and a king, but I can be a husband, and I'm going to go save my lady. I think that's ultimately
has
a soap opera.
As a lover yet?
Yeah.
It very much is.
I can follow that based on the moment where the other woman tries to betray.
I was just getting ready to Leo right there.
Yeah.
That is like such a hilarious death when like her just like VHS image is just sort of shuffled away.
That's right. That's right.
He does everything but hit a delete key and just get rid of it.
Waiting for the giant eraser on the pencil, like rubber out.
It's so like, and that's such a bizarre scene because she's become now sort of sentient and sort of aware of her place in this story and what she's become. But it's just, to me, it's just so endlessly funny when her image just vanishes.
You just made me think of something right there. So everyone that's been taken over has been taken over by a changeling, a separate entity. So what did the changeling fall in love with Cohen all of a sudden? And she's like, I just can't. I love you now.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Or did he brainwash a maiden? Like, I need to know which is which, because if the changelings can have love, I have a totally different outlook on those little bastards. Because the seer one like melts. Like, that was a badass scene too. Like,
that was a very cool scene, actually.
Very cool.
It's like, what did he do to make you fall in love? What he said, no, I'm not going to sleep with you. I have a bride. Like, and that all of a sudden made you just be like, oh, I can't go through with it. Like, what?
She says, in the hour I knew you, I've loved you. And I'm like, all he did was sit by a campfire and reluctantly eat the food you prepared.
She's like, oh, he's not one of those fuck boys. This is awesome. He's actually loyal.
Yeah, she was really into his striped leggings. That's what it was.
Yeah, he looked like a damn jester running through there sometimes. He just needed some bells to jingle.
My experience is if you're with a woman and she says she's in love with you within the first hour, you need to run the fuck away from that woman.
Yes.
Hey, listen to our Wedding Crashers episode. We just talk about this.
Yeah. That lady would have been. She would have been the next widow of the web. She would have been the next
been stuck. She got a new hourglass, maybe a different color.
She's
not
the next
red.
widow that's wrapped up in the web. Yeah.
And the whole time, Liam Neeson's looking at her, going, "What's her name? Where's she from again?" She's like, "You don't need another one." Oh no, she's ugly. Ugly. What? Oh man. I don't even know where to go next.
I don't know.
We've gone all over this
we
movie.
We have covered this movie top to bottom.
No. Okay, I know exactly where to go now. I know.
Okay.
No, because there's a very important thing we have to talk about. All right, so we've gotten this far. I'm jumping us ahead. We're going to end up delving into this thing for 4 hours if we keep going the way we're going. Now it's time to talk about the most powerful weapon in the universe.
Oh
and
my
its use
God.
against the Beast at the end of this movie, and Charlie's biggest fucking problem with Krull. As a child of the 80s and 90s, I have come to learn that weapons are just as much a character in a movie as they are as their heroes.
Indeed.
He-Man's power sword, the lightsaber Luke carries,
Thundera's lion sword, whatever.
Exactly. Weapons are a character.
Lion-O.
And Lion-O's.
Be quiet. I'll
We
be
let
quiet.
Pete's been drinking. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, you
Bleach
Thank you, Pete, for your contribution.
You know what? I'm going to
I don't know if he just glitched
Mute
himself out or
myself.
what he. Oh, okay.
I thought that was me. I thought, did he just say something so bad that it just?
I censored myself.
The universe has aligned to finally shut him up. It was great.
I was like, wow, Charlie, your security really does work.
It's back online, bitches.
And another thing.
Anyway, and the glaive from Krull is iconic. Every kid grew up knowing what the weapon was. Every kid grew up throwing sticks that look like it.
Damn straight.
Until you watch this movie and realize it is the dumbest fucking weapon in all of moviedom. Because they throw it at a wall that takes 3 goddamn hours to cut a hole.
Is there a reason why that couldn't cut in a straight line, by the way? Was he just drunk and waving his hand?
I made the joke to Jackie because she's paying attention at this point, and it kept because he's trying to get to the girl. I forgot her name already, the most powerful name in the world. But she's standing inside Lissa.
Yeah.
She's standing inside this thing, knowing that Cohen's trying to break in, and she sees like the light and the glaive and everything, but she keeps looking at the open door behind her. And I looked at Jackie. Why doesn't she just go, "Hey, come around back. The door's already open, and you can come in this way"? Because that glaive sits there. They do have multiple scenes. They go to the other guys fighting slayers and spiked traps and everything. Come back, glaive is still spinning in the same fucking spot, cutting a hole. No lie, about 5 minutes goes by before he gets through it. Saves her, then uses the same thing against the Beast and does the same exact thing. Sits there and spins for what feels like eternity until it finally pokes him in the chest, but doesn't actually kill him because he tries to go back and get the glaive. I'm like, why do you want it back? It sucks. Leave it with him.
I think there are 2 beats missing with the glaive. I love the actual weapon itself.
It's beautiful.
But I think, Charlie, when I've heard you on the show and when we talk about like D&D characters, you always strike me as the barbarian.
Really?
And right.
The
and I was
biggest
always
dude here.
and I was always the thief. So that kind of weapon is really fun for me. That's the kind of thing that I think is a lot of fun. They're missing 2 beats. Number one, because they don't allow our main character to use the glaive earlier, we never get him practicing with it. So there's no payoff.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get that point where he's like trying to throw it at a tree and it's missing or it's just landing on the ground. So there's no real payoff when he can use it. Plus also, I think that they do a very small moment where he throws the glaive at some slayers and he kind of annihilates them.
That's right.
You need a bigger moment like that. You need him to face 30 slayers. And annihilate them to set up the power that he now has with the glaive, because then the villain not being killed by it would be the next beat up. Because of course the whole point is that their true love is what kills the beast.
That's essentially what it is. So what you needed was the Luke training node droid scene where he's learning to use the lightsaber, but then the first time he deflects a blaster bolt in the movie, and then it's like, okay, he can use this and he can defend against Darth Vader. You're correct 100%. They don't set it up in Krull for him to be proficient or even know, like, you'll know when to use it. I'm going to cut open a door. That's not the first thing I would think about to get into a room I'm not able to. Let me go around it for a moment.
Yeah, I would have knocked first. Make sure it's the right room.
Just barge in. Yeah. You raising a barn?
Occupied. You know,
Since we're
just
talking
raising a
about
barn.
So, like, what if we got a Star Wars with Luke not using his lightsaber till the very end of the
That's
movie?
exactly what I was thinking.
we did
How?
that. It was episode 7.
fair enough.
Touche. Enter that rim shot right here.
But
I'll send you that audio file.
lightsaber sound effect.
Since we're
No, you're- but
at
you're
this moment of the film and we're talking about this room that he's carving his way into, I had to laugh when Lissa tells him, "We can't fight the beast here. He's too strong. We need to move from the center elsewhere." And then they get out of the room, immediately turn around and starts fighting him. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? She just told you. You got to get out of here.
He's much less powerful in the hallway.
It's constrained. It's
Yeah,
not-
it's,
I
right.
just think
Yeah, right.
great.
The architecture isn't right.
ballroom,
Like
it's the
the feng
hallway.
shui is
Okay.
off. It throws him off.
And then when the glaive gets stuck and he can't, like, he doesn't have the, like, he's not powerful enough or whatever to pull it out. I'm like, dude, come on. You reached into lava without burning up. You've got the power. Like, get that thing out of there. You've got the power.
There is no
You've got the
try.
power. Oh my gosh.
But I want to defend something a little bit because for myself, like I love having some fun with this, but there's stuff that works, and I think that the reason it bugs me so much that there isn't a training scene with the glaive is because when he gets to the door, I actually agree with you that the drama of cutting the door, because it's meant to create drama.
Yeah.
But like the drama of cutting the door, it doesn't really work all that well.
Right.
But what I do love is when he grabs the glaive and pulls it out and hits the music cue. The music cue lands it. And I just think to myself, if we had gotten here more organically and if we had used that glaive more and we had shown like failure after failure, he's like, now I can do it.
Yeah.
It would have been like a home run.
Totally.
Yeah.
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 And all,
Definitely
it would have been something like when he first gets it, he's like getting ready to throw it into nowhere, and the guy's like, "Yeah, don't fucking do that." But to be like, you'll know when to use it, usually means battle. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Use it in
Open
a
a door.
battle or two.
To save people.
Open a door.
All of a sudden, it opens it up, and it's like a Swiss Army knife, MacGyver style. Like, I'm going to use the file part of it.
Well, I actually got an idea, which is that what if it's like a mythic journey? So like, what if it's that like he has to do something within himself before, and what if the glaive won't open until he's read?
That would have been better.
Yeah, because imagine if he had pulled that out and he was like he had done some kind of internal journey and then it opened.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
Yeah,
That ties right into what I was
Yeah.
saying. That's what this movie's missing is these.
Just
Fine, call them
these
tropes but it works.
It works.
Okay.
We want to care about the characters. I think that's my biggest problem. I don't give a shit about any of them. By
Right,
the end
and-
of it, I just don't.
Right. Well, in the end of it, this is where I lose it too, is because now we're going to defeat it with love. And they're like standing next to each other, and she's like, "Here, you're going to need this." And fire pops out of her hand. And I'm like, "You've been carrying that this whole time?"
Yeah, and
Like,
by the way,
seriously?
he learned how to use that fire pretty damn quick.
Pretty
Concerning
quick.
he couldn't figure out the glaive for the entire movie.
Right. He
Yeah.
turned into fucking Johnny Storm at the end of this movie. Come on! And just starts throwing fireballs at the beast, which looked cool. Like, why didn't the fire mares look this badass? That's really where I think
Yeah.
I'm upset.
Yeah.
Early
And-
Photoshop and green screen, they couldn't do it.
Oh God.
And I do think that there are ways, like they kind of lean on the metaphor of like their true love is what causes the
that-
power. But you can still do that. You can still do that kind of story. There's other ways that you can do that. I always
Yeah.
remember being a little disappointed as a kid because I loved this movie, but I was a little disappointed when they got to the point where it's like, oh no, we've lost the glaive. I know, let's get married in front of the beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his neckbeard jealousy is going to send him over the
That
edge.
would have been awesome.
Yeah.
You know, let that storyline tie into the glaive even more. Let the fire like unlock some extra power of the glaive, and then all of a sudden it's a flaming glaive that they throw at it. Just something to like.
Flaming poison glaive. That's something totally Dungeons and Dragons.
Plus one.
Lightning
Right.
plus 4. Yeah. Vorpal glaive.
Four-pole
Right.
glaive. I like it.
I'm so I can't stop laughing at Leo's like neck beard like beast. It's like this beast that's like fine, like you don't like a nice guy.
Yeah. he goes incel very quickly. He's like, "Oh, of course you're gonna marry the guy with the long hair, and I'm standing here treating you like a gentleman the whole time.
I can
I'll give you this whole fortress."
Yeah, that is what, because he doesn't offer her love. He offers her joy. Power. Like he even says, "I'm not going to love you. I can just give you shit." Like, damn, motherfucker is an incel.
I told you,
Lord.
I can spot him.
You don't love me. You just love the idea of me.
I can spot.
Talking about the beast, like the design is cool, but I was kind of just like, because it almost reminds me of like a sea creature. It almost like a piranha or something.
Looks like
And so I was just, I don't know. I'm like, this kind of creature in space, but
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like
on it. And
exactly.
also, there's an episode of the X-Files in season 1, I think, where they go like, this creature's living in the sewer, and it
the
had
leech one.
The leech,
I think so. Yeah,
It's
and
got
I got that vibe too.
red mouth. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
that might have been episode 1 or 2. Wasn't
it's
it?
like one of the most renowned episodes they've ever done.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
it grabbed people's attention for sure.
Yeah. It's like, well, that's when they actually gave us creatures in the show. And
Yeah.
then next it's like, oh, I saw something. And
now it's conspiracies.
Gross. Smoking man. All right. Well, that's Krull, the go through. I'm sorry, the episode is what it is.
We have lots more to talk about, I think.
I know.
Sorry.
Well, Charlie's just putting a kibosh on this. Like,
this has been
bitches.
brilliant.
There's still more to do. I just want to get to the stuff.
Okay, fine.
Jesus, Pete, you're on the show. You know what the
I don't know what
we
show
do.
I'm on.
You really
Did
don't.
you not hear me the last episode? I don't.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Just center me.
Leave anything for us?
Just bodies. Body count. Body count. Body count. Body count.
So for a beloved movie that a lot of us grew up with, no one's bothered to count how many people died.
There's
in
too
this
many.
movie.
If you got to count the stormtroopers, it's
Well, it's all like
numbers
all the
don't go that high.
Everyone but Colwyn dies at the beginning, and then do the Slayers actually die, or is it just their suit is inoperable and the slug runs away? Well, speaking of which, I do like that effect. That is like very horror movie-esque when those little things come busting out of their heads and like roll into the dirt. Like there's
what is that? And I like how it wasn't explained. I'm like,
right. I'd rather it not be explained to me. I think that works better. So there are some, for a PG movie, there's some moments of gore in this that you got to love the early 80s about. They're like, fuck them kids. We're going to scar them.
PG-13 hasn't been invented yet.
Nope. This is straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there boobs? Did they say fuck? PG it is, sir.
What a time to be
Welcome
alive.
to the 80s. You're not wrong.
That's it, man.
Right.
People wonder why we are the way we are. Let's pick our favorite death now.
You ever killed anyone? Yeah, but they were all bad.
That's tough.
Speaking of how we are when we were kids. This is trying to think of some of the deaths, because a lot of the, like, I kept making the joke they were the merry men to Jackie last night. I was like, oh, look, it's Robin Hood and his merry men. And they get dispatched handily at the end of this movie. They've survived so much shit. And then all of a sudden, like, who died? 2? Oh, shit. Oh, they're all dead. Okay. They're all gone now. No one's left. But Hannah, let's start with you. Do you have a favorite kill in Krull?
Let's see. I wouldn't necessarily call it a kill, but the seer that is like the I guess the changeling seer, when it like starts like rotting away almost, those effects were really, really cool. And I did like when the Cyclops, even though I hated to see him die, but it was pretty cool how he kind of got smashed in the, smashed into the
doors.
walls of the castle. So that was pretty cool. So yeah.
That'll work. Pete, I'm just going to go across my screen. Pete, what you got?
I got one question about the Cyclops getting squished.
Sure.
So the party went and did their business and came out. They're escaping the Citadel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They came exactly back to where they had entered. If they had opened that door, wouldn't there be squishy, icky Cyclops bits
that's
on the door frame?
What a horrible ending that would have
exactly.
been.
Right,
Yes.
right. I like what you just came back exactly where.
Can you
There's
can you
nothing
imagine
there.
if the princess like walked through the door and she just slipped a little bit and
Yeah.
like
And then fell down. Yeah. So
She's
I
like,
guess
who's that? Don't worry about it. It's
don't
all
worry
good.
about that. Like,
Don't worry.
Okay, so if I got to pick a kill, and it's mean. This is a mean kill where the spikes are slowly going through one of the NPCs, I suppose. And it's like, you don't need this. This is filler. You're already at 2 hours. Why is this happening? And it's just a slow spike that's slowly going through this guy's chest or abdomen, or I don't know, whatever.
Right.
Because he
obviously
lunged-
doing it where he's pulling it to.
Oh yeah.
himself.
Oh, don't worry about that part.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that part. But I don't even know why he got killed. The weird thing is, he was like, he tried to get a knife or something.
His knife. He dropped his knife.
And you're dead now. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's mine.
Okay.
The slow death kill.
That is
and
pretty gruesome.
the squishy door. The icky.
The what if kill. the what if aftermath.
The what probably should have happened.
There
Kill.
you go. Anna, what about you? You can't say the whole movie, okay? So
No, probably the quicksand death. The guy
Oh,
drowning.
yeah.
That shit scares
Yeah.
me anyways. That's how when that was happening, I was like, oh god. Yeah, so that
There's
was definitely
so much quicksand around the world that you should be very careful.
Are you being
Anytime you
sarcastic?
Yes.
I was like, have you been somewhere I haven't been? Where there's a bunch of quicksand.
The 80s were rife
us
with
know.
quicksand as a scary thing for
one
me.
of
Yeah,
the most
it was gross,
Definitely.
unfounded fears of every child that grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah,
Indiana
I definitely-
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steven, what about you, bub? What's your favorite kill?
Well, it's hard because I think that two of mine have already been mentioned, but I'll mention them for slightly different reasons. So number one, I also love the seer kill. The special effects for that are incredible, especially when he sinks down into the sand. It just looks fantastic. But plus also I love the hero moment too. I love the Cyclops. He is a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina. He sort of shows up every moment the script absolutely needs him to.
Yeah.
But he's my favorite character, so I'm totally fine with that. If I could rewrite the script and maybe whittle out some characters to make the story a little bit more coherent, I would keep him wholeheartedly.
Right.
I love his character. I also really love the quicksand kill because it is so low effort from the person who's sinking into the sand. It's just like, no, don't let me sink out of this movie. Like,
here, take my bag of shit before you worry about me.
why don't you just take that first? Take that first.
I can go to the pub after this. Okay, great.
No, I can't quite get your hands. I'm just barely getting your fingers. Bye.
You'll find me at the craft services table. I'm gone.
Right. I got a much bigger movie deal. See you later.
That's a good one. Okay, we'll give you that. Leo, what about you, Bubba?
You would wish that the boss fight at the end and killing the creature would be the best kill in the movie, but it's not. It just isn't. So that's off the table. I think one of the big issues with the film is that there are so many NPC deaths throughout that are just scattered that it's hard to go, oh, that one, that shines brightly. I would even love to point out when they're in the swamp and he first uses the glaive to wipe out like 6 slayers at once. But that wasn't even that impressive. It was cool, I guess. But despite it already being there, it has to be when the Cyclops is tearing ass across the swamp and launches that spear into the seer and knocks his bloody goo out of his head into the fucking swamp water. That is the one of the movie for me.
Awesome. Well, mine is
You're up, Charlie.
not been picked by anyone, and we've talked about it quite a bit. And we've made jokes about it. It's the first Slayer that dies, and you see that fucking thing crawl out of its head and into the dirt, and you're just like, "What the fuck did I just see?" This is also like the second time I've ever seen the movie in high def. In VHS, it was a black blob that fell out of his head and we never paid attention to it. Now I'm realizing it's a creature like scurrying its way across the sand, and it's still, even last night watching it, kind of forgot that's what happens to him, going, oh shit. And it was like, that was really fucking cool and really gross. So yeah, it's the very first Slayer kill, and they do it multiple times in the movie, which is a bravo. Thank you for not making it a flash in the pan type of effect. And it wasn't reused. They literally did it multiple times,
they
different
filmed
times.
the same thing a number of times. Yeah.
Yes. So
Charlie?
Yes, sir.
Can I actually amend mine?
You can.
Oh. Mine is actually when the spooky woman who tries to seduce our hero gets deleted from the scene. That is actually my favorite death.
Deleted. Evaporates.
That one's fun. That's the funnest death in the entire movie.
Easily the funnest thing.
We'll give it that. All right. Well, I think it's time for us to rate this bad boy. I didn't know the appropriate sound effects, so I just brought Pete's back. That's how long the glaive was beating on that door.
I was going to say, that went on a while. That was...
Yep. Oh, I would have gotten the glaive sound effect, but it's just that's it. That's all it does. Let's see. Well, we will go ahead, and Anna, I know, is just dying to talk about what she has rated.
Go first.
Hit us, babe. Hit us.
Set that bar for us.
Oh, it's not going to be set very high.
That's okay. That's all right.
It was definitely a 1. Like, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Man.
I sat down to watch it. I had very high hopes, but it did not keep my attention. Like, I struggled. I really struggled to sit still and focus and pay attention. So, yeah, I can say I've seen it now. Wasn't a fan, though. Sorry.
Out of 10.
That's out of 10. I was just thinking the same thing. Pete just gave it 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's
At least it's not a 2.
I had more fun with vampires. I gave it a 3, didn't I? 3.5.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. 2's actually worse than 1 here.
I would have bumped the score up if it put some boobs in there.
that always bumps the score up. I don't care what movie you're talking about.
That's obligatory.
So vampires is going to be a 10 for both of y'all when you cover it, because there's a lot of boobs in it.
Pete watches movies he hates from me shirtless just so he could get a little bit of enjoyment with his reflection.
With shirtless and a mirror so I can see the boobs.
That tracks.
Shirtless in a mirror.
All right. Hannah, what about you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to go 3.5 out of 10. I liked it. Like I said, it gives me a little bit of nostalgia because of liking Clash of the Titans, and I even got even Never Ending Story that kind of reminded me of that too.
Princess Bride.
So I like I said, I liked it, but it's not something that I'm gonna go back and rewatch. Just being honest, it doesn't have that rewatchability for me. I know it does for you guys because y'all grew up with it, and I totally get that. But yeah, it just
calling us old.
And like we've said before, I think I kind of explained everything earlier, but it's just really choppy. I didn't understand a lot of it. I had a lot of questions because so much is happening. I'm like, okay, I'm a person, I like to know the whys and the kind of the backstory of why this stuff is happening, and I just didn't. It just doesn't have that. You're just kind of thrust in. And you're you're picking up all these people along the way. You don't know who they are. They're along for the ride, and which I mean, that could be okay in some instances, I guess. But yeah, it didn't work for me in this instance. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's not going to be one I'm going to go back and rewatch again. So, but yeah, 3.5 out of 10.
Fair. Pete, what about you, Bubba?
So, if with the nostalgia, hold on, let me do this again.
Yep, you're fine.
There's a lot of nostalgia with this movie, and unlike Hannah, hold on. Hannah doesn't have the nostalgia that I has. I'm wording this incorrectly.
You're right. Take your time.
It's very interesting how, if you've watched this movie as a young person, it means so much more to you. And as I have watched this as a younger person, I definitely think it's a recommend. Whereas 5 is a recommend, this for me is a 7. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is something I think people should watch. It is a timepiece. You need to go watch this because it's 1983 and it does so many things very well with special effects that people today wish they could do on such a budget. And this is totally a nostalgia bomb for me. So it's a 7.
Fair enough. Well, we will save our captors for last, and I will go ahead.
Aren't we the captors? Because they hacked into our
They
show.
captured us, so there are captors. That's how that works.
They are holding us ransom.
Yes.
These are spoils of horror ransomware. It's
Leo and I are in charge. It's our spell. You guys are captors. Hannah and Anna are guests.
Oh.
I thought captors were the people that did the capturing, and we're the
whatever. We
Shut
can
up
change.
and give you a review.
We can do whatever terminology we want.
Yeah,
We're in
it's
charge.
The spell has been weaved. They're in charge regardless of what you.
They should have been driving this train wreck, not me. So
Charlie,
That's what you have to do because you're captured.
Oh, that's right. That makes sense. I think I'm going to stand right there with Pete. I'm going to give this a solid 7.
Yep.
A lot of nostalgia, a lot of holes I can poke into it as an adult looking at it now. There are definitely better told stories and better sword and sorcery movies, but there's just something about this one that allows it to stand on its own. It's ambitious, but it's almost too ambitious to its detriment in some instances. So it's definitely, like Pete said, it's a recommend for me. I would tell everyone that they should watch Krull. But I also understand, like, I probably wouldn't force my kids to watch this because that would probably get CPS called on me.
It's a time capsule, which is the most important thing about this movie. Is a time capsule.
My kids didn't give two shits about Last Starfighter. I'm not putting them through Krull. Okay, so I know my limits.
Weird. My nephew liked the Last Starfighter. He's 10, and he this is a fun movie.
I should have had my kids watch them younger.
Your kids might not be educated enough. Maybe they should. Maybe they should get out of the mountains of West Virginia, or North Carolina, or Tennessee, or where the fuck
just
are
fucking
coming out?
Just dance everywhere.
Appalachia.
I'm gonna fucking punch you.
I know you're gonna punch a bitch here. You're gonna punch a bitch right now.
I'm gonna punch a bitch. I know where you fucking live, sir. I've been in your house. I've ate your wife's pie.
I know.
Just stop it.
Ew.
Stop talking about eating my wife's pie. Because it's true, and he did it in front of me.
Oh, that's why your name's Cuck the Conqueror. It makes total sense.
It all comes together now.
Full circle.
Hey, Leo, what'd you think of this movie?
Segue.
I'm going to mirror a little bit about what Cuck the Conqueror says over there. And, there's something
Nobody knows
fascinating to me about watching this now, as I had mentioned earlier in the show, versus being a child growing up with this, and the differences in this movie, and being able to see some of the flaws and get it from an adult perspective in the narratives and all these things that I never noticed before. And it was almost like a brand new film for me in that regard. And not every movie is perfect. Not every movie gets to have a star rating of high caliber. I almost never give a full 10 out of anything. This one has it. Not just because of the nostalgia. I love this movie. I love it now. I watched it. This is honestly, I swear to you, the first time in probably 15 years that I've sat down and watched this film. And I've forgotten how much I loved it. So much to the point that I ordered the fucking Blu-ray,
awesome.
and I have it. I am just putting it on the shelf as a regular visit, and it will remain a wonderful, nostalgic, lovely moment for me for the rest of my life.
Yes, that is fantastic.
Hell
That's great.
I love
Fantastic.
it so much.
Steven, you got to follow that, Bubba.
Well, now I'm going to look like a douchebag.
As always.
What? Wait, this is different from when?
Oh.
You set him up, I knock him down. Perfect.
Love you, Steven. Smooches.
Or I set him up, whatever. Anyway, I was thinking about our time that we came on for class of 1999. And that was a movie that I just really enjoyed but had not grown up with. And sometimes you watch a movie for its metaphors and its secret meanings, and sometimes you watch a movie just because what's on the screen is entertaining, and there is just nothing more, nothing less. And what I love about Krull is that the parts that are entertaining are just simply entertaining for their own sake. I go back to some of my favorite parts of this movie. I love that opening fight, where I just think it really captures what the vibe of the film should have been throughout had they had a little bit more of a consistent idea of what the actual movie was going to be and not try to do every single fantasy trope. But watching our main character cut down chandeliers and knock them on the slayers and then grab a rope and swing across and save people, that is the stuff that I'm in for with this movie. I agree with some of the criticisms that have come up. I agree that the glaive doesn't quite work narratively. I agree that I will be the first one to say, no character decision in here other than the main character going to save his girlfriend. Everything else doesn't make sense at all. These characters are just joining up because I don't know if they are on unemployment and they have nothing to do until their checks come in or whatever it is. But everybody is just waiting for a fantasy adventure to come along so they have somewhere to be.
Yeah.
Look, and I can own, I actually really understand what it's like to watch a movie that you didn't really grow up with. So I get where that's coming from. But at the same time, I think, as much as I disagree with everybody on this, I think The Beast is shot in a really incredible and creative way. I think that I think the movie lands everything technical except for the script. Even the acting is pretty good. So it has beautiful vista shots and it has music and it has some really great special effects. And yeah, I kind of have to go with my heart with this one. I don't know that it has the same place for me as a 10 out of 10, just a movie that I totally enjoy just for the sake of enjoying it. But I can go strongly like the others did with a 7, in that this is a movie I just have a lot of unapologetic love for. I've said it on our own show. I understand that there are problems with the Blair Witch Project. I don't give a fuck. I just don't care. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
I listened to that.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Not too long ago.
I actually mentioned that to that point. That's what this is for me. We don't get a lot of that on our show from my end. I don't get a lot of I just don't give a shit because I like making fun of movies and all that stuff. This one, I don't care what's wrong with it. Doesn't fucking bother me. It's a great film.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get that.
We've all got those movies for us.
Yeah, definitely.
It's my Masters of the Universe. It's exactly what it is. So I get it.
That's a great comparison. That's a great comparison.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, and everyone is entitled and allowed to have that. It's nothing.
You like
wrong
what you
with
like.
It.
Don't
Pete's
yuck
favorite
my yum.
phrase.
It's my Phantasm 3. Phantasm 3 is a movie that can make no mistakes. It is a mistakeless movie, even though it's full of them.
I love part 3. Okay, I stand with you guys.
Part 3 is a lot of fun.
Hannah and Anna, if you have not seen it, it's a lot of fun. If you like the other Phantasm movies,
Phantasm, and I don't think I've seen the second one. I think I've just seen the first one.
Okay, so Phantasm sets up a lot of stuff that makes all the other Phantasms.
The third one is. It's a bit more like a superhero movie. You've got a
Okay.
bunch of heroes and everybody's got a power and abilities, and it's and the heroes are what make it.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to
Cool.
ride this wave for a moment,
for
actually,
it.
since we're on this conversation. I hear a lot of times, and I'm sure we've all heard it, when you're in a social situation and somebody's like, hey, have you seen this film? And they're like, no, or this TV show or whatever. Then people are like, oh my God, you have to, and whatever. And they do the same thing when you say you don't like something. They freak out and they go, oh my fucking God, why? And here's the thing, much to your point, is people like what they like.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
when somebody's like, what's wrong with you? You haven't seen this. I don't jive with that, because it's exciting to me. I either get to introduce somebody to this for the first time and talk with them about it, which is super exciting and cool.
Yeah.
Or even better, I get to sit and watch it with them for the first time.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is the best experience on earth. I love that
is.
you guys, whether we agree or not on this
Mhm.
film, have seen this for the first time now, and we get to share this experience with
Right.
you.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful, and it makes me so happy to have that moment.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Except when we're talking about
Me too.
aliens, Hannah.
Hannah.
No,
I was
no
happy.
judgment from us.
It was too perfect. It was
Superior Show doesn't judge you.
You see which one they try to break into all the time. So
We're just trying to teach you how to do it right. That's all.
yes. Well, speaking of which, that is our episode of Krull. We want to thank everybody for checking it out. And please, let's start with the ladies. Ladies, why don't you tell them a little bit about your other podcast?
Hannah, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So we are Cinema Slab, and it's me and Anna, and we are two best friends who just like to hang out, and we watch movies, and we like to talk about them. So Friday nights we get together, and we each pick a movie for the week, and we do all different types. We're not just horror; we do all genres. We're big movie lovers. Always grew up with movies, so we wanted to cover them all. So yeah, but. You can find us on, we're on Facebook and Instagram at Cinema Slab Podcast. You can find us anywhere you can get your podcasts. We're on Amazon, Spotify, Apple. So, yeah, go check us out.
Awesome. Gentlemen, tell them about the spoils.
I don't know about best friends. We're just two guys that know each other and we talk shit. So
We barely. I would say worst enemies.
She my bestie.
Frenemies.
That's
good.
You want me to do it? I
Yeah.
can't do worse than Nate. So
That's why I figured this was an easy win for you.
The
we're
bar's
two
way
white
low.
cisgender men and a podcast. Blah blah blah. Don't listen to us. That's so. So Leo and I are Spoils of Horror. We are a horror movie podcast that is a bit of a comic and sometimes serious look at movies that are horror movies specifically that are lost, sometimes artful, thoughtful, or strange and bizarre. We cover pretty much everything in the horror genre. We do not just stick to mainstream movies, but we are just not 80s nostalgia either. We go all the way from the 1930s up to movies that are coming out right now. But I think Leo and I have a bit of a special love for things that are a bit obscure and, and off the beaten path. So you can check us out on, as I always say, Deezer, because that's always the thing I remember first. You can check us out on Deezer, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and all the other obscure podcasting places. We are also on Facebook, but we're most active on Twitter and Instagram. So
Just
check
search
us out
for
on-
Spoils of Horror on social media. You'll find us.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
And
We're fun.
We usually share everyone out here, Cinema Slab, Spoils of Horror, everyone that interacts with us. You'll see our posts. We share out their new episodes when they come out every week. So if you listen to us, you've heard them, you know who they are, and we hope you continue to listen to them as well. And maybe one day I'll actually invite Stephen and Leo on so they don't have to break in and cost me a lot of money just to fix all the shit they break when they get in here.
It's not coming
You know,
out of my
Charlie-
guest hosting paycheck, is it? It wasn't my fault. That's above my
Half
pay
of-
grade. I didn't let them eat.
That's like half of it,
Damn.
No, we will make sure you are paid in full.
Okay.
Charlie and Pete can give up their shares.
Okay.
Wait, what?
What's half of nothing?
I'm eager to visit this little corner store you're working out of
I
every
think
time
half
I
of
see
nothing
you.
is you owe me something.
What?
Oh,
You don't have to, I don't make you show up, Pete. What's wrong with you?
No, I'm not talking to you, Charlie.
Oh, I thought.
Am I talking to you?
I don't know.
Let's move along.
You
Are you
literally
talking
walked
to me?
away. I don't even know if you know what conversation we're on right now.
I don't.
I love the idea that Pete isn't actually even a host on this show. He's just constantly
I'm
in
not.
this channel.
He never
can't get
logs
rid of me.
out. Like I turn it on and
I'm
he's
just-
sitting there. Every
I'm just
time.
waiting for them to log in, and I'm always here.
He's
Yeah.
just lonely and he's growing a further beard and he's hasn't showered in a month. Oh, you're back on. I missed you.
Me growing hair of any kind is a dodgy thing. I can't
Well, when
do
you
it well.
sweat in air, that's what happens.
You ever seen the movie Powder? Yeah, there's Pete.
Hey,
Such an
hey!
All right,
Sadly,
well,
I get it.
that's our episode. That is also the end of August. Next month, hopefully everything works out well because it's a birthday month. We have
Yeah.
Pete's birthday and we have Nate's
And Nate.
birthday.
Oh,
So Nate should be returning. If you guys listened, he was on our review for We Are Zombies that we just released a couple weeks ago. So I hope you checked out that review. Check out that movie on Screenbox. So yeah, I can't even tell you what the movies are right now. So you're going to be just as surprised as we are when we come back in
Oh, boy.
September. So yeah,
I might leak my picks to Stephen and Leo just so they can follow along.
That'll be good. And so this episode,
we'll jump right into those movies.
Yeah.
this
No.
this episode has gone long enough, Pete. Come on now. Come on.
Okay,
we'll
fine.
finish it up next episode. All
Okay,
right,
fine.
let's go ahead. Let's get out of here. Thank you guys for showing up. Stephen and Leo, whatever you got to hoobadoo to get me the fucking show back.
Hoobadoo.
and oh yeah, no, we have plans to have you back. And also I just want to say thank you so much for, allowing us to sneak onto your show. And of course we'll see you for Deathstalker 2, right?
Oh, damn it, Pete.
What?
I just remembered. I fucked up.
No. What?
No,
Oh, you fucked up.
I fucked up.
Wow. This is a
So
first.
I didn't know Stephen and Leo were doing this shit. So I already had a movie picked, and I
Yeah.
fucking sent it to Stallone.
You said, oh shit.
God damn it.
So Stallone knows what's going on.
No, he doesn't. I
Steven-
told him the other movie.
Oh.
I didn't know
Okay.
Stephen and Leo were coming on here to do this.
Well, so clearly they've fucked everything up. So
All right,
what does
I'll just
so
see what-
Stallone has he's done another
Yeah, I'm sorry.
a review. Okay.
That was weird. I just got done listening to the episode, and it appears they just talking about magic and space. And it's called Krull, but I listened to Krull, the Conqueror, and it had Kevin Sorbo with the muscles, the guy from Hercules who's always chasing after that Xenia warrior, the princess. And, occasionally it's got my buddy Bruce Campbell, that man movie together, it's okay. There's always time. We're both in our prime still, if you were to ask me. But Kevin Sorbo, it wasn't quite like that one movie with my other buddy from the movie Assassins, where Antonio Banderas was the 13th warrior. You ever see that movie? He's got a sword. It's really cool. I mean, he learned their language after talking to them for a bit. And then Cole, I think he was supposed to be Conan, but then, Arnold was being Arnold. He's all like, I got a shitty heart. I can't make a movie right now. Look at me. I've got to go and make the 6th day. And, over here, I'm doing Copland, and I'm trying to win an Oscar again. That's what I do when I watch Cole the Conqueror. Is that I'm like, hey, Arnold, why did you do this movie with me? We both could be barbarians. Those brothers that are they did it, and they were cool. Hello, the B action show, they went and did that. So, like, they didn't use a goddamn cleave. Like, you got a weapon in the movie, that'd be like Rambo not using a gun. Which is fine, because, when I'm Rambo and I drew first blood, I had a knife, and a knife, like a sword, but it's also a compass. And inside the compass, one squint, righty tighty, lefty loosey, and then there's a matchbook, and I can write a matchbook, and in the flint and steel, I can create fire. Just